Bobcat Athletics on KFJB-TV is made possible by Assured Partners, Greg Young of Marshalltown, Lennox Employees Credit Union, Marshalltown Area Chamber, Marshalltown Community College, The Gregors Furniture and Mattress, Sports Plus, Wayward Social, Wells Fargo Advisors of Marshalltown, Marshalltown School District, Scooters of Marshalltown, State Farm, mtownproud.com.
Touchdown, Bobcats, Davis Ragland, pick six. Feldman, that one will get in. That's a good point right there. A shot coming here, that's a goal. Lifted to left center field, gets off the warning track into the wall. Transition three, boom, knocks that one down. And it's a goal, what a beautiful play. Dutton, look what I found over to first. It's a 3-on-1 all the way, yes. There he goes. Over the middle of the field, beautiful one-handed catch by Johan Gomez. Moves the chains up near the 30. Trayshawn Brooks makes the catch at the 25. Breaks two tackles. Touchdown, Bobcats.
Do you think he'll set him on fire if we ask?
Hi, Mom.
On KFJB-TV, it's Bobcat Game Day Live.
It is Bobcat Game Day Live right here on KFJB-TV. Great to have you in for tonight's broadcast as the Marshalltown Bobcats host the Mason City Riverhawks in week number 1. I'm Brandon Lewis. Dylan Does, he's got his jacket on tonight, even though it's not quite jacket weather. Dylan, I know you're all pumped up. It's week number 1. Always a great feeling to get back into it.
It really is. It's sun shining. It's nice weather. Video board is going. Bobcats, Mason City, great matchup. And it really is one, maybe the Bobcats can come out this year a lot stronger than they have the last couple years.
32-3 was the final score last year in this game as the Bobcats went on the road and fell in that one. And you know, it was another Hobart. That Hobart family has kind of destroyed hopes and dreams of many Bobcats in the past. And, of course, he's back again. He's in the slot. He's going to be a guy we talk about a lot here tonight.
It really comes down to Drew Hobart. 3 catches, 130 yards last year, and a lot of it was Bobcat defenders looking in the backfield, and quarterback able to extend the play right over top. Hobart would go into the end zone, and Bobcats are going to have to lock that down. That deep ball's been a bugaboo for them for a few years, so really see this younger secondary locking them down.
We've got plenty coming up on Bobcat Game Day Live, including a scouting report on East Marshall, West Marshall, and also we will get coming up our Rainbow Car Wash Radio Iowa scouting report. But last question for you.
Yep.
Week number 1, so many unknowns. It's always a tough week no matter who you are. You know, you look at the Bobcats, we'll talk about it later, but they've got a new offense.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot coming back for this Mason City team outside of Hobart. So the week 1, the unknowns, that's always interesting when you get prepared and ready for that one.
This is what I think maybe the X factor is the Bobcats playing Cedar Rapids, Washington in a scrimmage last week. Yes, it was a scrimmage, but they were able to get into uniforms, hit somebody else, have live refereeing. Will that be a difference? Because that's what, when you don't know what's coming, all those nerves come up, a couple quick touchdowns, that may be all you wrote. On the Riverhawks, we talked about this earlier this week, they are returning -5 yards passing and rushing combined. That's right, -5 yards. They do not have a whole lot coming back on the offensive end, so this is a big test for them as well.
Yeah, it definitely is. Coming up, it is our Rainbow Car Wash Radio Iowa Scouting Report as Bobcat Game Day Live continues right here on your home for the Cats. News Talk 1230 KFJB AM 93.9 FM and right here on KFJB TV.
The right insurance agent can make all the difference. Assured Partners agents represent multiple insurance companies. They can pick and choose from a larger variety of outstanding insurance options. Assured Partners also handles life and health insurance and Medicare supplement coverage. With access to local, regional, and national insurance companies, Assured Partners will create policies tailored to the coverage you need. For more information, go online to assuredpartners.com/Marshalltown. Power through partnership with Assured Partners in Marshalltown, Toledo, and West Des Moines.
On KFJB-TV, it's Bobcat Game Day Live.
From Radio Iowa Sports, this is the Scouting Report, an in-depth look at this week's prep and college games. Now from our studios in Des Moines, Todd Kim.
Season openers for the Hawkeyes and Cyclones. Iowa hosts Illinois State without Kirk Ferentz, while Iowa State hosts North Dakota. A rare home opener for UNI, and a busy night of rated matchups to open the high school season. Welcome to the 30th season of the Scouting Report.
Okay, gotta be late. Gotta go. Where'd I put... wallet. Check. And, phone. Check. Keys. Check. Lunch. Check.
Checking for the things you need doesn't take long. But what about checking for your safety? Right now, 1 in every 5 vehicles on the road has an open safety recall. But it only takes seconds to check for open recalls on your car at checktoprotect.org. All you need is your vehicle identification number or license plate number. Your automaker may not have the right information to notify you about recalls by mail, especially if you recently moved or drive an older or used car. Checktoprotect.org is the quick, easy way to find out if your vehicle has an open safety recall and find the closest dealer who can make the repair for free.
Laptop. Check.
Before you go, take a minute. Visit checktoprotect.org. Check to Protect is a program of the National Safety Council.
The Scouting Report from Radio Iowa Sports.
Heading into the season, the focus at Iowa was all about the offense and how it proved it may be under new coordinator Tim Lester. That was until head coach Kirk Ferentz was suspended for the opener against Illinois State for a recruiting violation. Assistant head coach Seth Wallace will lead the Hawkeyes on Saturday, and he'll have the final say on the sideline.
But you just try to keep things in an even flow. I think, probably try to keep everybody's mood or approach in an even flow too. And if we're getting a little bit higher here or down here, you got to try to balance things out a little bit and just try to make sure everybody's focused on what they do. Hawkeye corner Jamari Harris says they're not using the absence of their head coach as a rallying cry.
No, we're just going out and try to be the best we can be. We know our biggest opponent is ourselves. We're just going to try to go out and compete at a high level regardless. Do it for the brother next to you, for the coaches who've been coaching us, for everybody in this building. Everybody's special. That's why we are the Iowa Hawkeyes, and we're going to go out and try to leave it on the field. It's an 11 a.m. kickoff in Kinnick Stadium. It'll be televised by the Big Ten Network. Iowa State takes high expectations in the opener against North Dakota at home. Cyclone coach Matt Campbell says every opener has question marks.
What you're always nervous about in the first game is you don't know exactly what your opponent's going to do. You got to be ready to make great adjustments within the football game. And you can't do that if you got so much in that you don't have the ability to adjust. It's a 2:30 kickoff in Jack Trice Stadium. Fox Sports 1 has the coverage. For the first time since 2010, Northern Iowa opens a full season at home as the Panthers host Valparaiso. UNI is a heavy favorite against a Beacon squad that was 3-8 last season.
First game's always the same answer. There's a lot of uncertainty until you line up and find out what they're actually going to do, and it'll take a quarter or so to figure that out, to see what they are this year as compared to years past. But you look at the past and you gauge the future. That's UNI coach Mark Farley, and a disappointing start for Drake Thursday night. The Bulldogs led Quincy University 10-0 at halftime when the thunderstorms rolled into Des Moines. The second half never started, and the game is officially canceled. The Bulldogs visit Eastern Washington next week. Up next, high school football on the Scouting Report.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Scouting Report from Radio Iowa Sports.
More than a dozen rated matchups highlight the opening night of the high school football season. One of those takes place in Spirit Lake, where the Class 2A top-ranked Indians host 3A number 3 Algona. Brian Wilson has a preview.
A lot of similarities exist between these two teams who bring high expectations into 2024. Now, both teams will be led by three-year starters under center, with Caden Lunt leading the top-ranked Indians. The senior threw for over 2,300 yards and leading his squad to the Unidome last year. Indians head coach Josh Beloit knows his guys, though, will have to be ready from the opening kick.
It's going to be a great game. I think Algona is one of the best teams in 3A football, and to start with them right out of the chute with a ton of confidence coming back, it's going to be a great football game, and it's going to be a tough one for us to prep for.
Third-ranked Algona is led by Iowa State commit Alex Mansky, who threw for over 1,700 yards a season ago and leading the Bulldogs to the playoffs. Head coach Andy Jacobson knows just how good this Spirit Lake team is.
A couple really good receivers, obviously, that you know about, and running back and their quarterback returns. So a lot of returners, a lot of really good football players. Should be quite a game.
A season ago, Spirit Lake erased a 15-0 halftime deficit, taking advantage of 4 Algona turnovers to claim a 30-22 victory. Reporting from Algona, I'm Brian Wilson on the Scouting Report.
Also in 2A, number 2 Van Meter plays host to 1A, fourth-ranked Underwood. It's third-ranked West Lyon at home against Sioux Center. County rivals collide in 1A as top-ranked Dike New Hartford visits number 3 Grundy Center. John Mulwinkle reports.
The reigning 1A champion Grundy Center football team is coming off a 13-0 season, but most personnel from that team graduated, opening opportunities for several players to earn their first varsity snaps. Head coach Travis Zajac.
There's so many valuable lessons learned right out the gate in week 1 with Dike New Hartford coming in. They return a lot of kids. They're hungry. They're going to be well coached. They're going to be very aggressive and play a very physical brand of football. So that'll be a really good litmus test for us right out the gate. Our young kids that haven't had a ton of varsity time, they need to be able to respond to that moment.
Coming off a 7-4 season that featured a state quarterfinal appearance, Dike New Hartford has the vast majority of last year's starters back, including several playmakers at the offensive skill positions and quarterback Colin Meester. Head coach Don Betts hopes to get in sync throughout the first few games.
We're just going to look to become consistent, and I'm hoping that we can build some momentum through consistency. Last year, I thought in our pre-district schedule, we ended up being really inconsistent.
Grundy Center has won 3 straight in the series between the county rivals, including in week 1 and the quarterfinals last year. For the Radio Iowa Scouting Report, I'm John Mowinkle with On The Go Media in Hampton and Parkersburg.
Also in 1A, second-ranked OABCIG's on the road at Esterville Lincoln Central. Class A tonight, number 1 Woodbury Central hosts Lawton Bronson, while second-ranked Madrid is at home against Woodward Granger. And in 8-player, there's a couple of rated matchups tonight. Number 5 Cam plays host to 8th-ranked Audubon, while 6th-ranked Don Bosco is at home against number 10 Gladbrook Rhinebeck. Again this season, Bex is recognizing student-athletes that are not only a star in athletics, but also a player that shows heart in school, at work, through the community, and in the ag industry. Nominate a student-athlete by searching Bex Player with Heart. Last season, nearly 40 young Iowans were recognized for their achievements, both on and off the field. One of those was Violet Bodie from Algona-Garrigan High School, who was raised on a vegetable farm and enjoyed helping out at the farmer's market.
And we used to do vegetable boxes that we would deliver around town, and I've kind of just grown up helping with that, and it's been part of my life, and I've seen how that goes. And I really like it. I like working in the garden and on the farm and selling the vegetables, forming relationships with customers. It's really fun.
While in middle school, Evan Timmerman from Southwest Valley started a lawn and landscaping business with a friend.
And he already had clients on mowing business. I already had clients on the landscaping business, so it kind of worked out to just expand from that and learn from both places of the mowing and landscaping.
Besides competing in football and wrestling, Aiden Sullivan from Nashua Plainfield also was the drum major for the marching band.
Our school works really well together between the sports and other extracurricular activities to give everyone the chance to do
anything that they want to be involved in.
Wyatt Sermon of South Tama worked at a local sale barn. His uncle is an auctioneer. Wyatt also attended auctioneering school.
Happy to $50, happy to 50, happy to 50, happy to 50. Last call, happy to 40, happy to 40, happy to 50, happy to 50. Sold $40.
Recipients will be eligible for a $1,000 college scholarship. Nominate a student athlete by searching Beck's Player with Heart. The rest of Week 1 is next on the Scouting Report.
At Beck's, we stand up for the things that matter most: our faith, our independence, and helping farmers succeed. As the largest family-owned seed company in the U.S., we believe in the integrity of remaining an independent family-owned seed company. Since our founding in 1937, we have continued to produce quality products backed by a quality family of employees and dealers dedicated to serving American farmers. And that's something to be proud of. Beck's, founded in faith, forged in America. For more information, visit beckshybrids.com.
At Beck's, we believe that true champions are not just made on the field, but also in the heart. The Beck's Player with Heart Scholarship celebrates high school student athletes who show dedication, teamwork, and leadership, both in sports and in their communities. We're honoring those who go above and beyond, demonstrating passion, perseverance, and a commitment to making a difference. Nominate a high school student athlete by searching Beck's Player with Heart.
The Scouting Report from Radio Iowa Sports.
5A football in Central Iowa appears loaded again. No surprise, considering CIML schools have won the last 14 large school championships. Southeast Polk has won 3 straight, and the third-ranked Rams are at home tonight against number 2 West Des Moines Valley. These teams have met several times the past few years. The Tigers hope to break through tonight.
We've played them twice each in the last 2 years. We have finished with them and then opened with them each of the last 2 years, and here we are again. Eventually we want to get over the hump here. As of late, they've kind of held all the cards, and we've been close, but that's not good enough against these guys. You got to win one.
Valley coach Gary Swenson also in Class 5A. Top-ranked Ankeny takes on crosstown rival and 7th-ranked Centennial. It's number 4 Dowling Catholic hosting 5th-ranked Cedar Rapids Kennedy. In 4A, top-ranked and defending champ Lewis Central pays a visit to 3A number 10 Harlan. Tony Correa has a preview.
Harlan Community Football coach Todd Blatt had a simple message for his returning players after last season's early round playoff loss to Creston.
Everybody wants to play a few more games, and there's kind of a loss of finality to it, but you're going to have to deal with that pain for a while. So there's some life lessons that go along with that. I think for the younger underclassmen, it was kind of a wake-up call. So hopefully they've got the nose on the grindstone and understand what's in front of them, this season.
That's inspired defensive and offensive lineman Hayden Soma, who's excited to start the new season after the rough way it ended last year.
That last game of the season definitely left a bitter taste in our mouth, and we're just ready to get back after it.
Blatt has faith that sophomore quarterback Gabe Arkfeld will be able to be the field general his offense needs.
He's cool, he's calm, which is important at quarterback. You don't want to get too high, too low. You can't let the emotions completely take over.
Arkfeld will have Joseph Rice to throw to. The 6'3 senior knows the game against Lewis Central is always an intense way to start the season.
Every year, both teams seem to reload. They got some guys coming back, but we got some guys coming back, and I think we're ready to go, and our guys are willing to do anything for each other, so we're excited for it.
For Kennedy Radio, I'm Tony Correa with the Radio Iowa Scouting Report.
4A second-ranked North Scott is at Central DeWitt. Number 3 Cedar Rapids Xavier hosts 10th-ranked Waverly Shell Rock. It's 4th-ranked Western Dubuque at home against 3A number 5 West Delaware. John Swisher reports.
The Highway 20 Battle of the WDs features 2 teams with high expectations. This season may be a little higher for the Hawks. Former assistant coach in 2012, West Delaware graduate Ryan King takes over the reins from his former head coach Doug Winkowicz, who spent 20 years in Manchester before leaving in the offseason, taking the ADM Adel job. Quarterback Brent Yankovic highlights a group of 21 seniors and 12 returning starters. The returning first-team All-Stater ran for 1,559 yards and 25 touchdowns last year. He passed for 1,445 with 12 TDs. Class 4A Western Dubuque was the runner-up to Lewis Central last November. Graduation hit head coach Justin Pinner and the Bobcats hard, especially with the loss of Grant Glauser, who broke every program rushing record in the book. But 10 starters return, including 2 on the offensive line, including All-State selection Garrett Kleesner, along with quarterback Tanner Anderson, who threw for 21 touchdown passes. In 11 meetings in the series dating back to 2008, the Hawks have won 9 times, Western Dubuque winning last year at Brown Field in Manchester in commanding fashion 61-27. It was the Bobcats' first win in the series since 2011. It's West Delaware at Western Dubuque in Epworth on Buckman Field, a 7:30 kickoff time slated tonight. For the Scouting Report from KMCH Sports in Manchester, I'm John Swisher.
There's one other rated matchup in Class 4A. It features 7th-ranked North Polk at home against number 6 Bondurant Farrar. That's all for the Scouting Report. For Radio Iowa Sports, I'm Todd Kim.
Rainbow Car Wash has been in town over 40 years. New owners Brett and Kim Canada have been with Rainbow for more than 35 years, focusing on quality, cleanliness, and great customer service. Open 24 hours year-round with 2 convenient locations. Each location has 2 oversized truck bays to accommodate large vehicles. All bays accept quarters. And for your convenience, newly installed credit, debit, Apple Pay, and Samsung Pay featuring Swipe or Tap to Pay, powerful vacuums, and a great selection of vending supplies. Follow us on Facebook at Rainbow Car Wash, LLC.
On KFJB-TV, it's Bobcat Game Day Live.
Back in on Bobcat Game Day Live from Leonard Coalfield. I'm Brandon Lewis, still in Dose alongside me tonight. Time to look around the Iowa Lions Conference of Champions presented by Real Deals in downtown Marshalltown. A lot of action week number 1.
There's a lot of good games in central Iowa as Waukee travels to Ames to take on the Little Cyclones. Waterloo West against Waterloo East, both at a home field. Whose home team? Who knows? You have Cedar Rapids Kennedy at Dowling. Lincoln is at Roosevelt. Des Moines North is at Des Moines East. Newton travels to ADM. Webster City is at Fort Dodge. And then the Battle of Ankeny. Ankeny Centennial takes on the Hawks of Ankeny. And the big matchup, Valley at Southeast Polk for week 1.
Yeah, how about that to get your season started right there. Boom, right out of the gate. And, of course, the Bobcats will see Valley in week number 9. We are getting you ready, though, for week number 1 as the Bobcats square off against the Riverhawks of Mason City. That is our look around the Conference of Champions, all presented by Real Deals. Tell them, go Bobcats, for a special discount located in downtown Marshalltown. A preview of the West Marshall Trojans in week number 1 following a 2-7 season a year ago. Dylan will have that when we come back on Bobcat Game Day Live on KFJB-TV.
Hey Bobcat fans, are you looking for the latest in home decor and women's fashion? Real Deals is a locally owned boutique right here in downtown Marshalltown. We're your one-stop shop for home decor, the latest in women and teens fashion, plus a great place to get gifts for all the loved ones. Stop by our boutique and say, "Go Bobcats!" for a special discount. Real Deals is open Wednesday through Saturday. Grab a friend, bring your family members, and see what our locally owned boutique is all about. Can't wait to see you at Real Deals in downtown Marshalltown.
On KFJB-TV, it's Bobcat Game Day Live.
Welcome back into Bobcat Game Day Live as we look at West Marshall. Brandon said before the break, sit at 2-7 last year. Worst season for West Marshall in almost a decade. But your preview is going to be presented by Bailey's Pizza and Roasted Chicken in State Center. Open Friday through Sunday, 4:30 to 8:30. Well, how does West Marshall climb back from a 2-7 season where they lost to New Hampton in the first round of the playoffs? Well, they started off going down Highway 30 and take on the Nevada Cubs. Nevada gave them all that they could handle and more last year, beating West Marshall 31-0. If West Marshall is going to beat Nevada tonight and build off that for the season, it's all going to be Ben Gonzalez. The senior is the leading rusher return, also the leading tackler. And that has been your West Marshall preview, brought to you by Bailey's Pizza and Roasted Chicken in State Center. Open Friday through Sunday, 4:30 to 8:30. When we come back, Bobcat Game Day Live continues with the East Marshall preview.
Bailey's Pizza and Roasted Chicken and West Marshall football have long been State Center traditions. And with a year full of changes, it seems like traditions are harder and harder to come by. While where you enjoy it might have changed, Bailey's commitment to delicious pizza and roasted chicken can still be found in every bite. Enjoy the local tradition of Bailey's Pizza and Roasted Chicken, open Friday through Sunday, 4:30 to 8:30 for carry-out only. Bailey's Pizza and Roasted Chicken in State Center, proud sponsors of West Marshall football.
Welcome back to Bobcat Game Day Live here at Leonard Cole Field as we go to the East Marshall Preview. East Marshall Preview is presented by Laurel Diesel Services, your locally owned, qualified diesel mechanics. East Marshall sat at 2-7 last year. One of those victories, first week against BCLUW. The Comets went 0-9 last year. Mustangs look to get the victory. How do the Mustangs build off a 2-win season to try to get their first winning season since 2016? It's going to start with 4 senior captains. Jake Farrington, quarterback, returning through for almost 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. Xavier Slifer, almost 250 yards in the backfield. You have also Zach Denham the senior tries to be the anchor on both sides of the line. But really the guy I'm looking at all year long is Drew Weeder. Drew Weeder led the defense with 67 tackles, rushed for almost 500, received for almost 250. If Coach Greg Lee is going to have his best year, it's going to be because of those 4 seniors and bringing up the younger Mustangs to bring East Marshall back to football relevancy. That's been the East Marshall Preview, brought to you by Laurel Diesel Services, your quality, qualified, locally owned diesel mechanics.
When Mike Overton moved to Laurel, Iowa, he had a vision to have a diesel repair shop that would support his growing family and passion for working on diesel engines. Being part of the East Marshall community means ensuring that farmers, truck drivers, and businesses run smoothly. With a large building and state-of-the-art equipment, Laurel Diesel Services is always up for a challenge. When your farm trucks, semis, or other diesel equipment requires maintenance or the occasional repair, take it to Laurel Diesel Services.
At Greg Young Automotive, we go the extra mile for our customers across Iowa. Why do customers choose us and keep coming back? Because our commitment to exceptional service and satisfaction never wavers. With our extensive network of dealerships throughout Iowa, we leverage unbeatable pricing and offer a better inventory selection than other dealerships. Visit any of our 6 locations across the state and experience the Greg Young difference, where we'll go the extra mile for you.
You look forward to retirement as your time to relax. But now that it's here, turns out relaxation is overrated and you'd rather get back to work with an idea of your own. Wells Fargo Advisors can help. For more than 125 years, we've created wealth management and investment strategies aimed at achieving our clients' personal financial goals. When retirement plans change course, turn to Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far.
Wells Fargo Advisors is located at 14 East South Ridge Road in Marshalltown. Call them at 641-752-5401. They're a member SIPC.
This is the countdown to kickoff on your home for the Bobcats, KFJB-TV.
It is week number 1 as you take a look at the student section as the Marshalltown Bobcats get ready to take on the Mason City Riverhawks. It's an Iowa Lions Conference battle tonight, even though that doesn't mean a thing in 5A football, or 4A if you're the Mason City Riverhawks. I'm Brandon Lewis, Dylan Dose alongside me tonight as we count you down to kickoff. Coming up, it's Dylan's scouting report on the Riverhawks. We'll also get our cat connection here today as we'll talk with Sam Griesel and our pregame chat with head coach Adam Goodvin. But it's week number 1. You feel the environment, new coaching staff. You've got a new offense, a lot of new for this Marshalltown Bobcat program, including, you saw in the background there just a moment ago behind the band, other new facility projects, locker rooms in the works. So, I mean, just a great time for Bobcat athletics.
Gorgeous outside, but there was a ribbon cutting for the tornado shelter / locker rooms out there, still not being quite used yet, but you can feel the excitement, you can feel the energy, and the Bobcats look ready to roll. There's going to be some young names that you haven't heard before, but there's a lot more size on this team on the lines than what we've had last year.
Yeah, that is for sure. Jackson Hinkle looks really good, like he's taking a step forward coming into this year. 0-8 will be at center. We'll talk more about that coming up on our countdown to kickoff. Next is our scouting report as we continue right here on News Talk 1230 AM, 93.9 FM, and right here on KFJB-TV.
The equity in your home is power. Power to remodel your home. Take a memorable vacation. Add a deck or patio. Lennox Employees Credit Union can help you unleash the financial power you possess with a home equity loan. Consolidate debt, fund a student loan, or pay for a wedding. The loan process is easy. See Lennox Employees Credit Union, 1004 East Main Street in Marshalltown. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender. Online at lennoxecu.com.
This is the countdown to kickoff on your home for the Bobcats, KFJB-TV.
Our scouting report tonight on the Mason City Riverhawks, 2-7 a year ago, as that is all brought to you here tonight by Century Plumbing. Dylan, the Riverhawks, same record as the Bobcats a year ago, although they, I wouldn't say destroyed, but definitely handled the Bobcats in week 1 a year ago.
The score says that they destroyed. You watch the game back, didn't quite look the same, but the score is the only thing that mattered. Josh Reuter's Riverhawk team 2-7 last year, but as we mentioned in the opening, they don't return a whole lot when it comes to the offense. Senior quarterback gone. Coming in now is Dane Hansen. He was 0 for 4 last year, no yards. And then you have running back, brand new, Lincoln Birding, no yards last year. Where they do have production on the offensive side is Drew Hobart. Caught 6 touchdowns last year, almost 600 yards. Where their seniority is in that skill position, lined up outside of the tackle. Those wide receivers, Bobcats are going to have to keep an eye on. When you flip to the other side of the ball, the 4-4 Riverhawks defense, it's a little bit different. They were very young last year, but a lot of their production was from underclassmen. And Lincoln Birding is the one that is the man in the middle. Almost 50 tackles last year, 2 tackles for loss. And then you also look at Andrew Novak. Novak's about 6'3", real lengthy defender, but he had 4 sacks, 5.5 tackles for a loss. If the Riverhawks are going to win tonight, they're going to have a ton of production on the outside from Drew Hobart. And the quarterback, Dane Hansen, is going to have a big night in his first start as a Riverhawk.
And you just saw on KFJB-TV, Drew Hobart, 3 receptions, 130 yards, a touchdown. He had an 85-yard reception that really flipped the script of that game a year ago. As that is our scouting report, all brought to you by Century Plumbing, specializing in service plumbing in Marshalltown. Coming up, our Cat Connection, all presented by State Farm, Tyler Pashong Agency in Marshalltown, and our pregame chat, all brought to you by Exterior Plus Home Remodeling. This is the countdown to kickoff on KFJB-TV.
When you need a plumber quickly, try Century Plumbing of Marshalltown. We specialize in service plumbing, not new construction or large remodels, so we get to our customers faster, from clogged drains to water heaters and everything in between. We can help with a guaranteed appointment and quality, efficient service. I'm Sarah, co-owner of Century Plumbing, and I'd love to book your appointment today. Call 641-750-0108. That's 641-750-0108.
It is our Cat Connection, all brought to you by State Farm, Tyler Pashong Agency, mtownproud.com. We're here with Sam Griesel, senior safety for the Marshalltown Bobcats. 24.5 tackles a year ago in your junior season. Is there anything that you can kind of look back on and like a learning moment, anything that will really help you heading into this year?
Yeah, stepping up. I think it was week 3. I kind of got my first start on defense and realized, like, I got to show off. I got to be that guy and be that leader, you know. Yeah.
Rising to the occasion, I'm sure, is part of that. And as a senior, I know you were kind of mentioning to me, you know, getting more guys out, more bigger numbers for Marshalltown through all the classes. I'm sure. How do you kind of take that on your shoulders and help and do for this program?
I'm just trying to get some younger kids out and be a leader, have fun, and show them like high school sports is it. It's the funnest thing you could do, and you know, it's what you got to do for your school.
Yeah, definitely have that Bobcat pride. I know your family is heavily involved through older brothers, and you've got a younger brother as well, too. So what's that Bobcat pride mean to you?
It's throughout the family. You know, we love playing sports. We're very competitive, and it just means a lot that we're all through the high school and doing sports, doing good, too.
Of course, a guy who is ultra competitive, Duncan Furch, your defensive coordinator. He played at UNI. What have you really kind of learned from him, or what do you kind of idolize, I guess, about him being your defensive coordinator?
You got to be tough. You got to go out and hit someone hard. You know, you got to put it to them first before they put it to you. You got to be the strongest guy out there.
It is your senior season, so I know you're obviously involved with football, but what other activities, sports are you involved with?
Baseball and swim.
And you'll definitely be busy for sure. Oh, yeah. And we wish you nothing but the best of luck. You're still trying to decide on college in the next level, right?
Yeah, I'm still deciding. Not sure yet.
Are you narrowing it down to anything yet?
Not really, but I know I want to play a sport somewhere.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Well, best of luck this year.
Thank you.
All right. That is Sam Griesel, our Cat Connection, all brought to you by State Farm, Tyler Prashong Agency, mtownproud.com.
At Tyler Prashong State Farm, we are M-Town proud.
For us, M-Town Proud is about having absolute pride in the place that we live and work. The people in this community represent everything that I believe in and everything I want to instill in my children.
Hardworking.
Diverse. Genuine.
Kind. And passionate. A blue-collar town that has shown countless times we can depend on each other.
We'd love to talk to you about what makes you
M-Town proud.
Welcome back into the countdown to kickoff right here on KFJB-TV. It is our Exterior Plus Home Remodeling pregame chat with head coach Adam Goodvin. Coach, it is week number 1. It's flown by. How's camp been for you most of August here?
You know, it's been a lot of fun. You know, we're installing a lot, throwing a lot at the kids offensively and defensively and even special teams. And it's been somewhat of a grind, which is a good thing for our kids. And, you know, I think the positive is they're showing up every day willing to learn and they're working hard. And it's about time we face someone other than ourselves.
You know, off-season strength and conditioning. I know last year you mentioned it. We talked a little bit about it on Bobcat Live, but just kind of implementing maybe a few new things. What were those new things that you implemented to make sure that the Bobcats are competing at their best at the 5A level?
I think the two biggest things that we really put a focus on was, number one, consistency in showing up in the weight room. You know, if you stack a lot of days on top of each other, that's where you're going to see results. And then, you know, when we're in there, having a purpose, you know, being in the moment and understanding that we're in there with a vision in mind. So I think those two things have really helped a lot of our kids, and, you know, hopefully it pays off on the field.
You talk about a little bit of that consistency piece there. You've had Duncan Furch over the past few years being your defensive coordinator, bringing him back. You've got other changes on the coaching staff, but bringing him back, a former collegiate football player at UNI, his experience, all that kind of things. How does he help kind of smooth over that process?
You know, he does an outstanding job. You know, he brings a lot of energy. You know, he's in the weight room every day with the kids all summer long with us. And, you know, he is a consistent face that the kids see often, and they hear him often, and they hear his message. And, you know, they're starting to buy in and understand what we're asking out of them.
2-7 a year ago. I know that you guys definitely want to improve on that, but take nothing away from last year. You really had a good core of guys. You lose guys like Trayshawn Brooks, Caleb Kuzero, really good leaders. Have you found a leader in this senior class that's really kind of stood out in your mind?
Yeah, there's a few of them, which is a good thing. You know, we tell the kids all the time, you know, it doesn't matter what grade you're in. You know, you're all expected to be leaders. That's why we don't have set captains. We do weekly captains based on who's earned it. But off the top of my head right now, I'm thinking of guys like Owen Eaton, Davis Ragland, a couple seniors there that have, been very consistent in everything we do, and they're pulling others along with them.
All right, so who are your Week 1 captains?
Kids will find out this evening, and it actually hasn't quite been figured out yet. So we'll announce that here shortly, and then go from there.
All right, so you've had a quarterback battle as well too, and we'll talk about that when we come back right here on our Exterior Plus Home Remodeling pregame show, right here on KFJB-TV.
My name's Lake Schultz. I'm the co-owner of Exterior Plus Home Remodeling. At Exterior Plus, we truly strive to build relationships one customer at a time. And that's why we're the Midwest's #1 choice in full home remodels. Located in Marshalltown, Iowa, as well as Lincoln, Nebraska, we pride ourselves in providing quality service on time, every time. Give us a call for a free inspection and estimate at 844-261-6111. That's 844-261-6111. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Back in on the Exterior Plus Home Remodeling pregame coaches interview with head coach Adam Goodvin. All right, so quarterback battle as last year we saw Xavier Anderson start the year under helm, and it was Jacob Hayes who came in and eventually won it. He won the starting quarterback battle. What kind of stood out in your mind as he competed with Niehaus, the backup?
Yeah, well, we look back to a year ago and Xavier being a heck of a football player, and I think we were just asking a little too much out of him. Not that he couldn't have handled that, but it allowed him to be a little more fresh in some other positions and kind of put us in a better position to utilize his skills. And then Jacob, he did an outstanding job, and we switched up the offenses, and we truly believe that both our kids with Jacob and Niehaus were going to be great with this, and they have been. So, they push each other every single day, and it's been awesome to see. And, like I told you last week, it's a great feeling to have two guys under center that you have a lot of confidence in.
Well, alluding to it, the new offense that you were establishing here, a flexbone offense, got a chance to kind of see maybe a little bit of this offense when Georgia Tech upset Florida State last weekend. So, they had a real good recipe. They were able to run the ball when I was watching that game, and it kind of reminded me of the scrimmage you had against Cedar Rapids, Washington. I saw Xavier Anderson, Davis Ragland with a few really nice pop runs. I mean, that's what this offense is all about, good blocking and trying to spring guys for long runs.
Yeah, it is, and with Georgia Tech, Paul Johnson's not there anymore, so they're not true flex bone, but everyone has a little piece of it in there somewhere. Yeah. But last week our scrimmage with Wash, we kept things pretty vanilla. I think we only ran 4 different schemes is all. And I'm sure everyone in the crowd was like, what the heck, they just ran that play, and we did. But which is good. It's our core plays that we need to be really good at, and the key thing with this offense is all 11 guys. If they can read the wristband and do their job, their assignment, then we're going to be all right. It's we got to limit our mistakes, and we can't have guys kind of just going rogue with their job and thinking that they need to do something other than what we're asking out of them.
On the defensive side of things, of course, you bring back a nice rotation of defensive linemen. A guy we saw late in the season making, impactful plays. Ignacio Macias not even in the starting lineup here tonight. He's in 2 deep, but I'm imagining guys like that on your second line are going to be rotated in there. How comfortable do you feel with that depth on the defensive line?
Very comfortable. I think we're going to get a few guys here after a couple weeks, whether that's injury or some ineligibility things going on. But you can start all these different guys, but when it all comes down to it on Friday nights, we're going to play a lot of different guys. So Nacho's going to be he's a kid that's got a low center of gravity and gets a great push off the line of scrimmage every single play. So and we've got some other guys that can do the same.
Do you feel like it's the deeper part of the defense?
I do. We're very short, like I told you last week, in our linebackers as far as numbers. I think they've got a ton of talent, and they're a smart group. And then our defensive backs as well. They've got the more numbers, and we're able to rotate guys in back there. But, it all starts up front.
Mm-hmm. Of course, your opponent here tonight, Mason City Riverhawks, they were 2-7 a year ago. They lose a lot from their team last year. A lot of their production came from the senior class last year. So what do you kind of know about this team coming into this year?
You know, I think their defense is kind of going to be their strong point, you know, as a complete unit. You know, up front on the offensive line, I know they returned their right tackle, and then the other 4 are brand new, and then that's tough. But you know, they're going to be they're going to go through some learning and some growing pains here at the beginning. But you know, they've got some skill guys on the outside that are dangerous with the ball in their hands. You know, number 1, the Hobart kid. You know, he's an incredible athlete. You know, we saw him all spring on the track, and then you know the same with number 3, the Witt kid. You know, they get the ball in his hands, or either of those guys' hands. You know, we got to have all 11 guys swarming to the football.
Last question for you, Coach. Of course, it is week number 1. I know your team has kind of struggled since 2019 to get that week number 1 victory. You last defeated Des Moines North in that game back in 2019. So how do you make sure you get that victory on your home turf here tonight?
Yeah, you know, week 1, you know, it's crazy, and with high school kids, it's going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes, and that's going to be like that every week. But you know, I think more so here in week 1.
Well, good luck tonight.
I appreciate it.
All right, that is head coach Adam Goodvin with our Exterior Plus Home Remodeling pregame chat right here on the countdown to kickoff, right here on your home for the Cats, KFJB-TV. Welcome back into the countdown to kickoff right here on KFJB-TV. Brandon Lewis still in dose alongside me tonight as the cheerleaders getting things going tonight at Leonard Cole Field. Starting lineups all brought to you by Sandvik Enterprises in Marshalltown. Let them deliver for you while we deliver you the starting lineups. First off for the Mason City Riverhawks, behind head coach Josh Reuter, 2-7 a year ago, as his team was led by Drew Hobart receiving-wise, 31 receptions, 551 yards, and 6 touchdowns. As we take a look there, as Dane Hansen will be the starting quarterback, 0 for 4 with 2 interceptions through the air. Drayden Witt returns. He had 12 receptions, 185 yards, a touchdown last year. Bennett Miller, no stats. Andrew Novak at tight end, no stats. Ty Sanchez-Evans, he had a couple receptions last year in this game. He had 27 overall, 165 yards and a touchdown. Not listed on the 2-deep here tonight, so he might be ineligible or could be injured heading into this Week 1 matchup. This was a team that averaged 230 yards per game offensively. Though, you know, in a lot of games outside of the Marshalltown game, they really struggled even against 4A competition.
They really did, and it was really where do you go to? They had an inconsistent run game at best. You talk about Evans, big body, somewhat athletic, but they just struggled to extend plays. And last year, really, in the Marshalltown game, it was as much of what Marshalltown didn't do as it was what Mason City did.
You look at Overbeck, Brown, Arharts, Pals, and Reese on the offensive line. Meanwhile, on the defensive side of things, this is a defense that recorded 13 sacks, 5 interceptions, and 5 fumble recoveries a year ago on the defensive line. Pretty much guys that didn't do a whole lot to fill up the stat column. And LaCour, Whitechap, Reese, and Williams. Meanwhile, linebacking crew, that is their strength coming back, is Lincoln Birding, 49.5 total tackles. Andrew Novak, 29.5 total tackles, 4 sacks. He had a big game against the Bobcats a year ago, 8.5 total tackles and a couple sacks. Bennett Miller and Kaysen Byer returned there at linebacker. And then in the secondary, Drayden Witt as well as Drew Hobart at corners, and then Carter Clemsrud with that single high safety for the Mason City Riverhawks.
And whenever you're going with that 4-on-4, they're going to have 8-9 people in the box all night long to look to stop the Bobcats' run. If the Bobcats can get a little bit of run going, there's going to be man-to-man coverage on that back end. Maybe the Bobcats can get a home run ball at some point in this ball game.
All right, let's look at the Marshalltown Bobcats starting offense tonight behind head coach Adam Goodvin, heading into his 8th year at the helm, winning the quarterback battle over Jamison Niehaus, who last year 2 of 5 through the air for 21 yards. Jacob Hayes, 69 of 130. He was 53% on his pass percentage on the season. Nearly 1,000-yard thrower, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. His rushing game doesn't quite get low enough, so he had 32 rushes for only 11 yards and 1 touchdown. But Jacob Hayes will be the starting quarterback here tonight, Dylan.
And last year at this time, Xavier Anderson was the starting quarterback. He'll be the B-back tonight. A lot of new faces. Jacob, I thought, being put into the offense halfway through, ended up over 50%, plus minus touchdowns over interceptions at 4. Best you could expect. Hopefully he really takes a step forward this year as a junior.
Also back behind him, it'll be Davis Ragland at running back. That was kind of an interesting story. He got 6 carries in week number 1, and the rest of the season, not a whole lot.
No, his biggest score, he had 1 touchdown last year, was a 57-yard interception return.
Yeah.
So Davis is like, now feed it to me on the offensive side. If I can do it on the defensive side, I can score on the offensive side.
Xavier Anderson will back him up, and Tyler England, we could possibly see the young tailback here tonight as well. Aiden Smitherman, Ethan Gorsuch will be in that kind of slot slash wingback position, running the ball. And then Kyle Smith will be split out wide receiver, as well as Talon Halstead, as he picked up 2 receptions, 21 yards a year ago in limited action. But the wide receiver crew, very untested coming into this year.
I heard before last year a lot about Aiden Smitherman, and it just seemed that the game was a little fast for him last year. He did some nice things later in the season, but again, off-season, you hear all about Aiden Smitherman. The coaches have a lot of trust in him. His teammates do. If the Bobcats are going to win here tonight, I think number 2 is going to be somebody that's going to have to stand out.
Offensive line a weakness a year ago, but you feel much better heading into this year. Lincoln Barker, the senior, there at left tackle. Jackson Hinkle was a really good sophomore. He has put on size as a junior. He'll be at left guard. Owen Eaton slides over to center. He did play a little bit there last year. Heard really good things about John Schaefer as well as Arian Hancock, 2 young guys. Well, one's a senior and one's a sophomore, but 2 guys that have really made an impact, kind of new guys stepping into roles.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what Schaefer brings. He's going to be starting on both sides. If you're a sophomore, you're coming in on starting both sides of the ball. Coaches see something in you. You look at Jackson Hinkle. Coach Goodvin said he gained 33 pounds of muscle over the offseason. 33 pounds. He is a grown man as a junior. Last year suffered that broken collarbone, and a lot of that was he was a smaller guy, a lot of wear and tear. He looks to be built for the part this year.
Arian Hancock, from talking to Coach, he was homeschooled and things like that, and he's open enrolled in the Marshalltown School District. So love to have him. He's got really good size as well out there at right tackle. So
another 240. Last year, we've been slight at the center position and slight kind of throughout, or our size wasn't as athletic. Moving Owen Eaton all the way inside, he's at 250 athletic. And then you've got a Hancock Schaefer, both about 240. Bobcats have a ton more size on the offensive and defensive lines that really should allow them to wear on that Mason City offensive line.
All right, so on the defensive side, we talked about a lot of those guys already. Lincoln Barker at edge. He comes off a year where he had 29 total tackles, 2.5 sacks, and a fumble recovery. John Schaefer, Owen Eaton in the middle there at the tackles, and Arian Hancock, as we'll get the first look of him coming up at defensive end. Then it's that pride of point for the Marshalltown Bobcats. It's always been at linebacker. I talked to Coach about it on Bobcat Live last year. Carson Williams played last night for North Dakota State University. Got some playing time out there against Colorado in a loss. But, Gannon Williams, a big one. I had to sneak that in, Dylan. Also, you look at guys like Ace Holmes, who was just a dog at linebacker, and he was a tackling machine. You look at a couple guys out there now. Davis Ragland, he's got the opportunity to go at the next level and play football. Xavier Anderson, I think his heart is with wrestling, but, he's a very good linebacker coming off of a 3-sack year. He had 2 sacks in this game a year ago, so hopefully he can get after the quarterback again. But you talked about a pick 6 off of Davis Ragland. And then Zach Wilder. We saw him later in the season, and he really impressed, and he's going to be a starter out there tonight.
I really loved what we saw him, the last month of the season. Yeah. We saw 34 a whole lot more. We said Zach Wilder at least a half a dozen times every single Friday night once he got some playing time. I think that's going to be a really good group of backs, even if led by Xavier Anderson. Even if wrestling's his number one, there are worse things to have as a tackling machine than a very, very good wrestler.
Yeah, that is for sure. Ethan Gorsuch and Aiden Smitherman will be at the corners. Kyle Smith, Sam Griesel at safety. Griesel kind of the leader there, Dylan. 24.5 total tackles coming back, but there is, again, we talked about it, Smitherman on the offensive side, also at corner. What's he going to do there at that position?
I really think with Smitherman, and you look at some of those defensive backs, the athleticism is there. Do they have the discipline? And that's really what they've struggled with in the past, looking in the backfield. Happened to Aiden Smitherman in this Mason City game. They have got to keep technique sound. They have to be smart because they have the athleticism and size to be able to match up with Hobart and with the Mason City Riverhawks offense.
11 sacks, 6 fumble recoveries, 5 interceptions. This defense allowed 33 points per game a year ago. Offense only scored just over 14 points per year. I imagine that number will change this year on both sides of the ball.
Lincoln Barker, for me, was one coming out of his sophomore year. We were calling his name all the time, and then last year just didn't really get his bearings about him. I think he's going to have a lot more pressure on the quarterback than he did last year, so I look for him to be a leader on that line.
That is our starting lineups. Again, all brought to you by Sandvik Enterprises in Marshalltown. Let them deliver for you while we deliver you the starting lineups. This is Bobcats football. You're watching KFJB-TV. Let's join our national anthem here tonight. Marshalltown High School Marching Band performing here. School song. We had them on Bobcat Live last night. A lot of fun hearing them perform.
They're a great group of kids. I, of course, am biased. I'll say it all the time. I've got a drum major out there, so a very proud dad moment out there. Bobcat Band sounds great.
And it is a beautiful week number 1 to kick things off here at Leonard Cole Field, as currently we sit at 74 degrees and hardly a cloud in the sky, and the sun setting off to our west as the band exiting towards the field. Let's get a quick scoreboard update here tonight, all brought to you by Central State Bank.
The battle of the Ankeneys. Ankeny Centennial is up on Ankeny 6-0 as the Jaguars take on the Hawks. And then Urbandale is beating Indianola 7-0. Again, the Jayhawks up 7-0. early in that one.
Kickoff between the Riverhawks and the Bobcats next on KFJB-TV.
This is the Countdown to Kickoff on your home for the Bobcats, KFJB-TV.
Welcome back to the Countdown to Kickoff here tonight on KFJB-TV. Brandon Lewis, Dylan Does alongside me. Time for today's Keys to the Game, sponsored by First Rate Real Estate, FirstRateTeam.com.
For the Bobcats, it's the thin line between love and hate. 60-3 over the last 2 years against the Riverhawks. If you want to look at that game last year, the first 4 possessions the Bobcats had, they had it in Riverhawks territory and scored 3 points. They shot themselves in the foot over and over. 3 separate occasions, they had Mason City for a loss, only for them to elude it, and big plays. Those big plays to Hobart came off of failed tackles by the Bobcats. If the Bobcats are going to have to win, they have to make those defining plays, because it is not a talent gap, it's an execution gap. For Mason City, it's big plays and birding. You look at the big plays. Drew Hobart, we've already talked about him a little bit in the opening. 3 catches, 130 yards, big touchdowns that broke the Bobcats back. And then you look at Lincoln Birding. 50 tackles on the defensive side. Now he's their featured back on offense. What can he do? Can he carry the load for the Riverhawks to make it competitive here in Marshalltown?
That is our Keys to the Game, all brought to you by First Rate Real Estate, FirstRateTeam.com. Kickoff between the Riverhawks and the Bobcats is coming up as the Bobcats getting ready to take the field here at Leonard Cole Field. It is week number 1. Kickoff next on your home for the Cats, KFJB-TV.
Life can take unexpected turns. Maybe you started college, but life got in the way. At Marshalltown Community College, we understand. It's never too late to chase your dreams. Come back to where your journey began. Rediscover your passion for learning and let us help you achieve your goals. Schedule a visit today at MarshalltownCommunityCollege.com.
Marshalltown Community College, a step in the right direction.
First down, Bobcats. And this one's going to be blocked back at the 10-yard line. Touchdown, Bobcats. Pass over the middle of the field, and Yohan Gomez catches it. 25. He's loose all the way in for a Bobcat touchdown. One man to beat, and he will. And Ignacio Macias, he comes down to the pile with
it. Bobcat football starts now.
It is week 1. Riverhawks, Bobcats here on KFJB-TV. I'm Brandon Lewis. Dylan Does alongside me as finally it is here, the much-anticipated wait, as head coach Adam Goodvin, the see there on KFJB-TV, beginning his 8th year as Duncan Furch and his defensive crew will be out on the field as the Riverhawks will take the opening kickoff here tonight.
Yeah, Bobcats have a little bit mix. Adam Goodvin in his 8th year. His dad, as an assistant, is in his 1st year. So a big one. He said,
No more Goodvin Bowl.
No more Goodvin Bowl. That's only in practice. But he said it's really exciting. The person you go to for advice right away, now he can do it every day in practice. So there seems to be a lot of familiarity, even with the new adds to the staff. I really anticipate, I love the energy the Bobcats have on the sideline. I think we're in for a great night of football.
Kickoff here tonight is all presented by Century 21, Marshalltown's #1 home team, thepolyrealestateteam.com. Well, out to kick. We saw him a lot last year until Johan Gomez came back, but it was Luis Monghay, 24 kickoffs and 1 touchback. As a year ago, he was really a really good mainstay there at the kicking, both field goals and kickoffs.
And he can kick both feet. And he's kicking off right feet. He tends to kick field goals left-footed. It's ridiculous.
And Hobart's going to field the opening kickoff and be brought down just over the 15-yard line. And a nice tackle by Aiden Smitherman as the Riverhawks begin at the 17-yard line, going from east to west here tonight at Leonard Cole Field. So, again, a lot of anticipation. Week #1, defense, probably that defensive line and linebacker core going to be the strong suit. Got to get off to a hot start. You can't let Hobart beat them for a long play.
No, and you see Nacho out there. He led there in that left tackle position. They have got to move the offensive line. Last year, that defensive line got shoved off the blocks.
And here's Hobart on his sweep. He'll go to the far side of the field as he'll get past Xavier Anderson, who finally makes the shoestring tackle over there at the 25-yard line. So it's a really nice 8-yard run on first down for Hobart. And that, again, he is that guy that the Bobcats are going to have to keep their eye on all night long.
Yeah, you go back to the producer that you've got back. The jet sweep action is they're going to get the ball in Hobart's hands as much as humanly possible. And Bobcats have to be ready and have to set edges.
The snap comes. They'll hand off right up the middle, and first down yardage is going to be picked up as Zach Wilder is in there to help make the tackle as the ball run right up the middle by Lincoln Birding as it moves the chains up just shy of the 30. So it is a solid gain of 4 to pick up a new first down.
And for those of you that have been watching Bobcat football for a while, Lincoln Barker has been wearing 87. This year he is in 50. It seems like he might flip-flop. They have him in on the roster as both, but he looks like he's bulked up as well at that defensive end.
So 4 down linemen for the Bobcat defensive line. As snap comes, rolling out near side, Dane Hansen. He'll scramble with it. And he's going to be hammered and driven out of bounds shy of the 30-yard line as Davis Ragland in there to make the initial tackle.
You know what I'm seeing early already on the kickoff and this is they're not over pursuing. They're not lollygagging. They are in position. They are very conscious. They're not over pursuing. They're right where they need to be. Bobcats seem to be locked and loaded early, which they have not been in opening games in years past.
Just back to the line of scrimmage there, so it'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Riverhawks as we count 10:45 to go still here in this opening quarter of play. A swing out to Hobart in the flat. He makes the catch, and then he'll be brought down. And I believe that was Jackson Hinkle and Ignacio Macias on the tackle. Yes, it is Owen Eaton, actually, and Ignacio Macias. Both those big defensive tackles flying around for the Bobcats. Brings up a 3rd down and 10. How about that? They moved the chains on 2 plays, and now the Bobcats got them right at the sticks.
And Gorsuch did a nice job of knifing through. He didn't get the tackle, but he did get an arm on Hobart, causing him to spin where the tackles were able to eat him alive for no gain.
3 wide receivers split out for the quarterback in Dane Hansen. Hansen's going to roll out to the near side. He'll look to throw in the flat, and it is incomplete. Short hop to Hobart as Smitherman as well as Xavier Anderson in the area for coverage, and that'll bring up 4th down and 10. And here comes the special teams unit. Nobody coming back special teams-wise as far as kicker or punter this year. And out to punt, it will be that's on the Bobcats. Lincoln Birding will be the one to punt this year for the Mason City Riverhawks on 4th down and 10 as Xavier Anderson is back to return. as we have just shy of 2 minutes gone in week number 1. And a low snap. This one eats it up for Birding. He's going to scramble out to the near side. Wilder will bring him down for a 10-yard loss. A turnover on downs after the miscue on the punt. Birding has his helmet knocked off. He's on the ground. Wilder, we talked about him in the starting lineups. He comes up with a huge play as the Bobcats will begin the drive in the Ethington Heating and Cooling red zone.
What a start for the Bobcats. A bad snap. Bobcats able to corral Birding. But what I love to see, if you're looking on the sideline, is Kyle Smith has had a ton of energy. He seems to be a hype man from last year. That sophomore, maybe too big for the stage was too big. Now he seems to be ready. A lot of fire on the Bobcats sideline.
Jacob Hayes will be underneath center as Ragland is the back. 2 split out to the far side and hand off to Ragland right up the gut. He's got 5 yards and runs over a Riverhawk. He's up to the 11-yard line. Nearly a first down run, a pickup of 9 for Ragland as he goes off of left tackle, riding Jackson Hinkle for nearly a first down run.
You and Coach Goodvin talked a lot about leadership, and he talked about how the class come up this year are more vocal, stronger leaders. It's evident here on the field here in this first drive.
Handoff, fake it. No, they did give it to Ragland, and he dives ahead to the 9. That's going to be a 3-yard pickup and a first down. It looked like the quarterback, and that's one thing we'll see a little bit different than in years past. You know, a traditional handoff look. You know, Jacob Hayes could keep it and run it in a sprint out of the far side. That is all there in the offensive playbook now.
Yeah, with this veer offense, it really, Jacob is reading 3 different things. First, he's looking for the defender. If he sees something, he's going to hand it off there right away, or he can keep it, or he can pitch it out to one of those slots.
Jacob Hayes underneath center as he'll bark out the signals. Hand off to Ragland again, and Ragland will fight ahead for about a yard, and that will bring up second down and goal as the Bobcats inch their way further towards the goal line as they are in the Ethington Heating and Cooling red zone. We're not comfortable until you are. Last year, I believe it was week 3 before the Bobcats finally got themselves into the red zone, as it was a tough one. But right here on the opening drive for Mason City, they turn it over on a muff punt, and Bobcats in good position to get their first points of the year.
Yeah, they just capitalized. Last year, we said in Mason City territory 4 times, only 3 points. They have a gift wrap opportunity here.
Hand off to Ragland right up the gut. He'll bounce off a defender, reaches towards the goal line, and he's a 1 yard short. As a nice run of 6 yards, it'll be third down and goal at the 1 yard line, as it's been all Ragland as he gets himself 19 rushing yards so far, and possibly his first rushing touchdown of the season, with no rushing touchdowns a year ago. And nearly going to eclipse his rushing total from a year ago in one drive right here, as he had 27 a year ago. Ragland, the deep back. Man in motion, handoff, Ragland, touchdown, Bobcats, first of the year. Bobcats get the turnover and strike for 6. Davis Ragland.
That is the best way to write it up. Davis Ragland. It's easy when you have a decision, and the first decision is hand it back to the guy who's going to grind out yards. Davis Ragland, 20 yards and 1 touchdown. Bobcats up in just over 4.5 minutes of play.
Luis Monge is on for the PAT as Xavier Anderson will do the hold, and that is up, and it is good. It is 7-0. Bobcats lead. 7:27 opening quarter. Striking for 6. Davis Ragland plowing in for the Bobcats on KFJB-TV.
McGregor's Furniture and Mattress is your local furniture store in Marshalltown, and they are proud to support Marshalltown Bobcat Athletics. If you want to kick off football season in a new recliner, pass the bread at a beautiful new dining set, or lay up on a luxurious sectional sofa, McGregor's is the right play. Score the mattress of your dreams with an assist from their friendly and knowledgeable staff. You'll be the household MVP when you bring home the winning selections at McGregor's Furniture and Mattress, downtown Marshalltown. Open 7 days a week.
Welcome back to Leonard Cole Field. You see up there Luis Monge just made his first extra point of the year after a 24-yard drive led by a bad snap on a punt. Bobcats get it near scoring position and put it in. Davis Ragland with the first touchdown of the year. Bobcats up 7-0. It sure is a much better start than last year.
Kickoff all presented by Poly Real Estate Team Century 21. Let Kristen and Kurt Poly offer you the knowledge and service that you deserve. Yes, it certainly was. It was week 3 before the Bobcats scored their first touchdown of the year as Munghay will boot this one away into the night sky. In week number 1 as the Bobcats leading. Hobart fumbles the kickoff, and he'll return it, gets a seam. Munghay steps up, misses the tackle, and Hobart's going to be gone. And it's going to be nearly all tied up as it's touchdown Riverhawks. Hobart, a huge kickoff return for a touchdown. He fumbled it at the 5, picked it up, got a seam. Bobcats got out of their lanes, and he takes it all the way in for 6.
And you wonder if that fumble, it almost throws the timing off a little bit. Bobcats have one defender slip and fall, another missed tackle, and it doesn't take Hobart much. There he drops it. You see Wilder gets caught inside, so he's not in his lane, and then 2 Bobcats fall, and then it's just about speed. Hobart wins 10 out of 10 times.
So about 10 seconds later, it's a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Carter Long is on for the PAT, and it hits the crossbar, and it is no good, and the Bobcats will hold on to a 1-point lead. 7-6 is our score here in the first quarter. We'll take a second to get a breather in here. So Hobart takes the kickoff for a touchdown, as he's always a threat to score on any play, whether it be kind of a swing pass on a wide receiver screen, whatever it may be. And right there, he just showed his athleticism.
And it comes down to making one mistake. Wilder cut inside, got out of the lane. Hobart hit right where he wasn't, and new Bobcat special team coach Ken Winkler, very famous in this area, Hall of Fame coach, most famously of West Marshall, is now the special teams coach. You know he's going to be talking about that and fixing that issue. Bobcats had a big success and then a letdown right afterwards. See what they can do. They get punched back. See if they can get off the mat and punch back at the Riverhawks.
Coming up after the game, we will name our Bobcat player of the game, all presented by Opa Grill in Marshalltown. So 7-13 in this opening quarter, and the Bobcats has given up a huge kickoff return for a touchdown, as Drew Hobart taking that one all the way. That Hobart name, we've gotten tired of it. His brother played quarterback and just ran all over the Bobcats. What was it, 3 years ago?
Yep, and we still have another year.
And that was 28-0 in that one, as I believe Hobart, the quarterback, had
4 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah.
I was done with it, and then Drew did it to us again.
And here's the kickoff away, all presented by Century 21. Xavier Anderson brings it up. Breaks a tackle at the 30, pushes ahead over the 35, and finally driven out before the 40-yard line. So solid starting position for the Marshalltown Bobcats. And I was wondering, because the scrimmage last week against Cedar Rapids, Washington, didn't see maybe the physicality that I see here tonight. And I think that was probably maybe the learning point, is you got to come out ready to hit somebody. And I told you today, Bobcats will lose if they do not come out physical here tonight. And we really have enjoyed the first half of this first quarter, the physicality. And that play right there by Xavier Anderson exemplifies it.
Well, Davis Ragland, Xavier Anderson, they're physical people. Xavier knows that low. He may be 6'2", but he got lower. Hit him right in the mouth, able to get it back out. Now he stands right behind Jacob Hayes as the lone back in the backfield.
Here comes in motion. Fake the handoff. Hayes will keep it for the first time tonight. Nobody picks him up. He's loose at the 50, 40, 30, and brought down short of the 25-yard line. Beautiful play. We were just talking about that, as the quarterback keeps it right there as Jacob Hayes gets it into Riverhawk territory.
A brilliant read by Jacob. With this veer option, he's keying on a couple defenders. Based on what the end does, you see it right here. The end crashes in, so he hangs on to the ball. You see 77 come in, so Jacob knows if he's crashing in, I keep it every single time, and he comes out that backside. An absolutely fantastic run by the junior, showing he's got a little bit of wheels in his game that we didn't know he had.
We did not see that whatsoever last week in the scrimmage. I think they were hanging on to that one. That is for sure. So a huge gain gets the Bobcats down to the 25-yard line. As Hayes will keep it again, and he's going to get down to the 20-yard line. So how about that? Jacob Hayes turning into, well, I won't call him Michael Vick because he's definitely, that's a disservice right there. But, boy, he is showing he can move the chains with his feet.
Well, and that's one thing, talking to Goodvin, as this being a run heavy, you see it again going down there. You see it run heavy. Is Jacob Hayes the right person for that? Because I haven't known him to be a runner. And Goodvin says, no, he's picking it up, and he definitely is.
And here's that fake again, that fake handoff, and then running. And, he's got some wheels, and he looks good. I like the high white socks.
Yeah.
There is an injury timeout, and we will take a timeout. 6:46, opening quarter, 7-6. Bobcats leading by 1. And actually, no, we will hang on tight here as heading off the field is Lincoln Birding, and it looks like he is okay on his own accord. He will get off the field, so we'll keep it right here. 7-6, Bobcats leading as the Bobcats have 2nd and 5 after a couple of really nice runs by Jacob Hayes.
Yeah, great job, and it looks like the Riverhawks, Birding is going to be okay, because if your name's not Hobart, Birding's number 2, the most important Riverhawk player out there.
Jacob Hayes underneath center and a new running back, Tyler England. We thought maybe we would see the young running back who is just a sophomore. He gets the handoff, and he's going to fight off a couple of Riverhawks as he gets over the 20-yard line, and he is down to the 18, so a gain of 2. It'll be a short 3rd down and 3 here for the Marshalltown Bobcats. Tyler England, a sophomore, but he really ignited things in the freshman games, which we saw last year. He ripped off huge runs. And the Bobcats will work quickly here as Talon Halstead is split out to the near side. Smitherman, top of the screen. Anga Pramana, and he's going to move in motion, and jumping offside are the Riverhawks. On the near side, Jaden Williams jumped over the line of scrimmage, encroachment, and that'll be a 1st down, 5 yards, as that gets the Bobcats deeper into the Ethington Heating and Cooling red zone. Ethington Heating and Cooling, we're not comfortable until you are.
And England, as we've talked about, if you were ever here for a freshman game, he's got the best wheels of any of the 3 backs we've seen. He's incredibly fast. I'm really excited to see what his career as a Bobcat will look like.
England watches as Sam Griesel will move in motion. England fighting, keeping those legs churning down to the 10-yard line. And a nice run on 1st down as he picks up about 3 yards. And that's the thing we saw last year, is we see a cramp by the Mason City Riverhawks here in this opening quarter with 5:36 stopped on the clock. But that was what we saw, from him in those freshman games a year ago. For those who did not see, he's tough, physical, and it was impressive to see as a freshman, and you can see a little bit of that already. I know limited 2 carries, but you like what you see.
Yeah, he's fast. He can also, he's not afraid to run between the tackles. He can hit, he can pop you. There was 3 guys that stood out to us all last year in those freshman games. Jamison Niehaus, which you talked a little bit about, really good young quarterback. Zane Moore was a big target ahead. He's ill tonight, but you'll see him a lot this year. And then Tyler England. They're all going to be big contributors to the varsity team here this year.
So we have a stoppage as right now a cramp and a stretch out. Hope to have you along for Bobcat Live. It's coming up this Wednesday night. We've got a different night, a lot of activities coming up this Thursday night. So Wednesday, 6 to 7, we'll be broadcasting live from Wayward Social. Hope to have you out there as we'll talk football, volleyball, and a whole lot of other things in Bobcat athletics. As also, Tuesday night next week, we'll be on the road as Des Moines Hoover will be the host for the Marshalltown Bobcats in volleyball action as first serve in that one at 7:15. And earlier this week on Tuesday night, volleyball picked up a 3-0 road victory at Fort Dodge, which was huge because last year they lost 3-2, and you can just tell already they have taken a step forward with 9 seniors on that team.
And talking to Coach O'Neill, she was ready. She's been around the sport. She was ready for this moment, but Kaylee Pashong did not leave the cupboards empty for her.
No.
There
and
is a lot of talent.
She's been a tremendous support from what Coach O'Neill has told us, which is awesome to hear. 2nd and 7 for the Bobcats inside the Ethington Heating and Cooling red zone. Sam Griesel in motion, and Hayes was going to keep it himself. He'll dive to the 5, and that's where he's going to be brought down. It will be a short 3rd down coming up. This is a really hard offense to stop at the high school level if you do it well. And so far tonight, the Bobcats are doing it well.
And the thing that Coach Goodvin said is he wanted to be different. Everyone was kind of running the same stuff. He wanted to be different. So Mason City's not going to see this type of offense again this year. This is a totally unique thing for him. And so it becomes very difficult for the defense to stop.
Unga Pramana on the right side. They'll bring Sam Griesel from the left side in motion. Hayes keeps it, breaks an initial tackle. He's driven back after getting first down yardage. It'll be 1st and goal at the 3-yard line as that'll move the chains. So how about it as the quarterback tonight? Jacob Hayes, 4 carries and nearly 50 yards of rushing so far tonight.
He's saying, well, if we're not going to throw the ball, I'm going to churn up the yards. No, but he's done a really good job. The big thing with Jacob running the football, in between the tackles, can you get your shoulder pads down? He runs tall. He's 6'2", but he's got to do what Xavier Anderson does. He's got to get his shoulder pad,
not the paddle. Here comes Griesel in motion. Hayes keeps it himself, and he'll pick up maybe about a yard, and 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. And actually, no, the near side official says back to the line of scrimmage. So 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line as we are under 4 minutes to go in the opening quarter. As the Bobcats leading 7-6, and they are on the Riverhawk doorstep.
First game jitters. I couldn't say shoulder pad.
That's okay. Joe, our camera guy, couldn't say a lot of words earlier tonight when we were getting ready for this
he
one.
He was making up words.
That is for sure. And the Bobcats going to get the Riverhawks to jump offside, but they did jump back, and so the official will not throw the flag. Hayes looked to the near side, and he'll keep it himself, and no one touches him. Touchdown, Bobcats, 3-yard touchdown rush. Jacob Hayes.
That was a mauling from the inside as Joseph Hauser and Lincoln Birding had to pick themselves off the ground. They got just smashed by the interior line. I believe that was Owen Eaton leading the charge there, and Jacob Hayes just waltzed in there. One thing that you will notice that here you see it right here is Owen Eaton. No, he didn't really even have to touch anybody. Nobody was there. They all just kind of walked into the end zone. Riverhawks not ready.
Munghay on for the PAT. It's up, and it is good. And it is 14-6. Bobcats lead 3-11 first quarter on KFJB-TV. Week 1 coming up roses for the Marshalltown Bobcats as Jacob Hayes keeping the uniform clean on a 3-yard plunge to give the Bobcats a 14-6 lead with 3:11 in the opening quarter, and it was an absolutely beautifully executed second drive of the night.
It was fantastic. They let up a huge touchdown. How do you respond? They just absolutely, like a surgeon's scalpel, went right through the Riverhawks.
62-yard drive after a really nice Xavier Anderson kickoff return. Hobart, another kickoff return. Monghay is back there, though. Misses on the tackle. Halstead misses. Hobart, can he do it? He will. Another kickoff return for a touchdown. You've got to be kidding me. Wow. Don't kick off anymore. Kick it out of bounds.
Yeah, there will be no more kickoffs, but this is something that is it's ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
You see
another
here again,
95-yarder.
You see that, again, nobody setting the edge. They get pushed all into the middle, and Hobart's just able to run, and then he just crosses over Talon Halstead, who does not make a good effort, and it is donezo. Absolutely just gut-wrenching for the Bobcats.
That is for sure. And after missing the PAT, they will go for 2. Handoff, and it looks like they're going to come up short to the near side as Lincoln Burden got the handoff, and they will be short for the PAT. So 14-12 will be our score with 2:56 here in this opening quarter of action. We will step aside. This is Bobcat Football. You're watching KFJB-TV.
At Sports Plus Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy Center, we customize each patient's treatment plan to their individual needs. What does that mean? It means that not every back or knee problem is treated the same, and that your program will be unique and designed especially for your needs or problem. This improves how quickly you will return to work or sports. The Sports Plus staff is encouraging and takes pride in your successful recovery. This is just one more reason why champions choose Sports Plus Physical Therapy as their favorite place to rehabilitate and train.
Back at Leonard Cole Field after another Drew Hobart touchdown. 2 95-yard kickoff returns for a touchdown. That's a career night in itself, Dylan.
Yeah, the first kickoff here you see the Bobcats just getting hit on the inside. The one thing I will say is Tyler England, immediately when you first see him in that play, he gets knocked on his backside. There you see him coming back into it. He wasn't able to tackle him, but that's the type of effort the Bobcats have to have. Now can you do the execution part and not just effort? Because, again, poor execution covering that kickoff.
Maybe not even execution, just poor angles overall by a lot of guys out there. So something to work on from week 1 to week 2. Kickoff returns always a challenge at the high school level, especially when you have a playmaker like Drew Hobart. Kickoff all brought to you by the Poly Real Estate Team, Century 21. Xavier Anderson not back to return this time. The kickoff is short. Sam Griesel fields it at the 15. He's got a seam. He's over the 35-yard line, and nice field position again for the Marshalltown Bobcats. They started at the 20-yard line. Their first drive in the red zone already. They scored a touchdown. 38-yard line. They go down the field from 62 yards and scored on their last drive. And now this one they will start at the, looks like the 37-yard line is where they're going to officially spot this start here for the Bobcats.
Yeah, you look at the Bobcats, they've so far in 14 plays, they've ran it 14 times for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. They've been able to just hit Mason City in the mouth, and we've got a flag here.
I think an illegal substitution.
Yep.
Yes, it is. As Sam Griesel came running off the field at the last second there as Bobcats 2-minute men on the field, and so that'll back up the Bobcats. First penalty of the night. We've been pretty clean for this opening quarter of action.
Yeah, and that's been another bugaboo for the Bobcats is just not shooting yourself in the foot. This is the first time they've really done that on offense here.
Hayes underneath center, gives it to Ragland. He's going to be up for about a 5-yard gain to get back that penalty yardage. Looks like short. It'll be 2nd and 11 as he picks up 4. But Ragland, we didn't see him out there really a whole lot on that last drive. That's because the whole first drive was basically all him. 20 yards and a touchdown to begin this game, and it was a really good start for him. Something that I know he really wanted to get going was he's so good defensively, but want to follow it up offensively as well.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of flipping series with Xavier and with Davis because they're both expected to do so much defensively as well.
Jacob Hayes underneath center. He'll get set. And in motion, and a reverse. Smitherman's going to come up with it. It's read well by Mason City. Smitherman slithers out of a tackle, and he'll pick up about 1.5 yards for a long 3rd and 9. So able to do a little bit out of nothing right there, as Mason City read that play pretty well right there.
Big thing Mason City did on that backside, led there by Logan LaCour, is they just stayed home. They didn't over-pursue when they came back the other misdirection way, and they just sat on Smitherman and waited for him to come back to him.
Approaching 1:30 to go in this opening quarter of play as the Bobcats have a 14-12 lead. Fake pitch out on the far side. They'll throw for the first time tonight. Caught on the near side by Ragland. Puts his shoulder down, diving for the first down. And where will they spot it? Looks like the 48, and that's what they need for a first down, and they will pick it up. It is a 10-yard pass through the air as the quarterback at Jacob Hayes for the first time tonight passes and hits Ragland on a nice play.
And it was such a nice job, Jacob, with that play action, put it right in the belly. But Coach put out a play where it was just a simple catch and toss, gave Davis Ragland green space to be able to pick up the first down.
Halstead split out to the near side, the bottom side of your screen, and hand off Ragland right up the middle. He is going to haul a couple of Riverhawks on his back to nearly a first down run as he picks up 9. It's 2nd and 1, and Ragland, once he gets a full head of steam and he gets those guys blocking for him on that left side of the line, like right there, he is a tough man to bring down.
He's a grown man as Tyler England comes back in. Wondering, hopefully, Xavier Anderson's okay. They were taping up his ankle again about a series and a half ago, but hoping he's all right.
England behind Hayes, who's underneath center. Hand off to England. He's going to pick up a first down and much more as he's brought down at the 35-yard line. And boy, it doesn't matter who it is right now. It's 3, 4, maybe even more yards.
Yeah. Well, and England must have taken some salsa dance lessons because he's got some nifty footwork in there. Kept his legs turning, good vision, was able to pick up 6, 7 yards on a first down. Sophomore's doing himself some favors here tonight.
It's that right ankle that is taped up now for Xavier Anderson as he's over on the sideline. So, yeah, we haven't really seen him carry the ball a whole lot here tonight. But hopefully he is going to be all right as he walks that one off. And Bobcats are going to let the first quarter come to an end. It's 14-12. Bobcats with the football. They have the lead as the second quarter and a scoreboard update is coming up right here on your home for the Cats. News Talk 1230 AM 93.9 FM and right here on KFJB-TV.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social. And that's just on the inside. Step outside and enjoy patio life at Gutter Point with drinks, shuffleboard, live music, and fun atmosphere. Follow Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to plan your next visit to the place for fun.
Back here at Leonard Cole Field, Brandon Lewis, Dylan Doe's alongside me. Our producer, Zach Tomish, as Joe Cornwell, Common Spelling. Keith Stewart is on the camera crew tonight. Jesse DeMeyer back at the KFJB radio studios. Time for a scoreboard update here tonight, which is all brought to you by Central State Bank. Dylan.
We've got a tied game in the Metro as Johnston and Waukee Northwest are knotted up at 14. Dowling Catholic is up on Cedar Rapids Kennedy 7-0. Urbandale beating Indianola 10-7, and you hate to see it, but the Ames Little Cyclones down 35-8 against Waukee.
I don't think I've ever hated to see that.
Oh, that I was definitely being sarcastic.
I hear they got new turf over their names.
I heard it wasn't up to snuff and they had to redo it.
Which is quite fitting that since we went there last, you have actually gained a degree in turfology.
In turfology with a minor in turf studies and turf philosophy. It's not just how you put it in, but why you put it in.
That is true. That is true. The why really matters.
It is. I think you can do something every day, but really you've got to own why you do it.
That is true. Hey, did you know that January is mentoring month?
We have fun.
Yeah, that's true. I missed you. I'm
Yeah.
glad they renewed our contracts, I think.
They did.
I hope I'm getting paid.
I signed something. I didn't really read it.
All right, here go the Bobcats. Second quarter, 12 minutes on the clock, and the Bobcats leading 14-12. Jacob Hayes underneath centers the Bobcats at the 35-yard line in Riverhawk territory. 1st and 10. Snap comes. Handoff right up the gut to England. He's going to be met just past the line of scrimmage. A gain of 2 yards. And 2nd down and 8 coming up right here for the Bobcats. Not a pivotal drive, but it's one of those things where, Mason City keeps getting a kickoff return for a touchdown to match you. It's one of those things, can you maybe gain a little more momentum heading towards halftime?
Well, and I really think because defensively, the one series the Bobcats did have out there, I don't see Mason City moving the ball against us quite a bit, at least consistently. So here the Bobcats have been able to sustain drives, continue to get those first downs.
Hayes underneath center. And comes in motion, handoff to England again. He's up to the 30-yard line. And he will gain 3 yards, and it's going to be 3rd down and 5.
And you see Xavier Anderson continuing to get his ankle taped again. But you look here at the Bobcats, they have not gone to the third option on this veer where it's that pitch out or the handoff to the slot back in motion. They've stuck with the simple handoff or the quarterback keeper. That third option has yet to come out. So see if they might be able to mix and match with those slot receivers.
Handoff England on 3rd and 5. He's got a first down as he falls over the 25 into the Ethington Heating and Cooling red zone as he's brought down at the 18. It is a pickup of 70 yards for the sophomore running back who's looked really good in relief of Davis Ragland tonight.
So number 5, Tate Ring last year. He's a little bit smaller than Tate, but he has a couple of those things. He's got speed, and he can also smack you. And so what we lost in Tate leaving, you now kind of see Tyler England filling that role.
Tate always had a top 5 smile, though.
Yes, he did.
And
he loved, and that got
he
to
loved
be
Lincoln too.
That was a top smile when he played Lincoln.
He loved to roll Lincoln, that's for sure. Snap comes, and England gets the handoff, evades a Riverhawk, and he has nice yardage on first down. Mark it 7 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 3. And England doing a nice job to kind of sidestep a defender initially there at the line of scrimmage and power forward for a good gain as the Bobcats deeper into the Ethington Heating and Cooling red zone here now.
He's got 31 yards on 7 carries, while Ragland has 33 yards on 7 carries, not to be outdone. Number 12, 6 carries with 52 yards, and both Ragland and Hayes have a touchdown apiece.
That was interesting. Smitherman came in motion and then kind of stopped and went back towards the right as they changed the play call.
And
he was not moving towards the line of scrimmage, but they did rule it a false start. It just looked funny.
Yeah.
Because usually if that happens, they'll reverse and run back to the spot, and there he kind of, I think maybe there might have been a missed call, but that was about 15 seconds after that happened, so it's hard to believe that was called a false start that late, but he gave the official the chance. So now the Bobcats out of the red zone, but on the doorstep.
And one of the new things this year is you can see all the skill players and even the line looking at their wrists. Everyone has a playbook that only lists what they're supposed to do on particular plays. So if it's
handoff, fake it, no pitch to Smitherman. It hits the deck, and it's going to be a loss for the Bobcats. That one was not a good one from the go. They faked the handoff to England, and Hayes maybe thought he was going to run it, but he was getting hit. Tossed it low to Smitherman, and the Bobcats are now back to the 26-yard line, and so that's going to be another loss of about 4 yards. And the Bobcats moving in the wrong direction here, 3rd and long.
And that's where Hayes has got to pitch that quicker. He's got to read that outside backer who is crashing in on him. He's got to pitch that every single time. These are some of the growing pains, new offense, new philosophy, as the Bobcats look to be able to capitalize in really good field position.
3rd down and 12. Hayes is going to go to the air. He has a man right up on him, and he is eaten up in the backfield by Gabe Reese, the defensive tackle, and the Bobcats lose another 2 yards. 4th down and 14 as they are backed up to the 28-yard line.
And this is Luis Monge has the leg for it, but it looks like they're going to keep him off.
He definitely does. A year ago, Luis Monge made a 27-yard field goal. That was his long. I believe that was against Mason City in week number 1.
Yeah.
A year ago. Under 7.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Bobcats with a 2-point lead here. They fake the man in motion again. As that time it was Gorsuch on the left side of the offensive line. Bobcats are going to let it roll down. Penalty flag will fly. I think that's what they wanted, was maybe back them up for a punt opportunity here and pin Mason City deep. But no, a timeout's going to be called actually for the Bobcats before the flag flies. So 7:10 in the opening quarter of play. We'll take a timeout with them. This is Bobcat football. You're watching KFJB-TV. This drive started at the 37-yard line, nearly an 8-minute drive now as we're at 7:10 in the second quarter, and Luis Monge is on for the field goal attempt. It will be a 46-yard field goal as he'll spot it at the 36. Monge has the leg, a soccer player as well. This one looks good, and it is good. Right down the pipe, Luis Monge, a huge 46-yard field goal to extend the Bobcats' lead now 17-12.
Xavier Anderson does a great job of getting it down, but Luis Monge, this is the X factor. Bobcats, even when Johan Gomez comes back, he has a 47-yard field goal to his name, but he split it one step, boom, and split it right down Main Street. Man alive, is that a big weapon in big games?
He's coming for Josh Tucker's job in the NFL,
That's
man.
right.
I mean, that thing was booted down there. It is 17-12, Bobcats lead on KFJB-TV.
At Sports Plus Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy Center, we customize each patient's treatment plan to their individual needs. What does that mean? It means that not every back or knee problem is treated the same, and that your program will be unique and designed especially for your needs or problem. This improves how quickly you will return to work or sports. The Sports Plus staff is encouraging and takes pride in your successful recovery. This is just one more reason why champions choose Sports Plus Physical Therapy as their favorite place to rehabilitate and train.
Monge extends the Bobcats lead now 17-12, 7:04 second quarter. Brandon Lewis still in dose alongside me tonight. Week number 1 off to a fun start as the Bobcats get a 47-yard field goal by Luis Monge. When's the last time the Bobcats made a 47-yard field goal? Because I think
Gomez had one 2 years ago.
Gomez, I think that was 45.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's here's a squib kick, a really good idea, as the Bobcats don't want to see Hobart take one back.
Goodness.
And there is a big return again. This is something that's going to be – people are taking laps in practice this week. I mean, extra runnings going on with how bad special teams has been here tonight. So many good parts, but unfortunately kickoff coverage has not, and that's going to be really good starting position at the 44-yard line for the Mason City Riverhawks on their drive here. This is their first drive since the opening kickoff because they took 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown. So, I mean, the quarterback getting a little rusty over there. I'm sure he was warming up in Dane Hansen because it's been a while since he's been out on the field.
Well, you look at it, 17 minutes in, Bobcats have had it for about 14 of them.
Birding, luckily he was playing linebacker because he's been out there in the action, but he takes his carry over the 50-yard line. So a nice run on first down. It's an 8-yard pickup for Lincoln Birding as Mason City offense will get in the Bobcat territory for the first time tonight.
Yeah, as Lincoln Birding now has 11 yards on 2 carries, Mason City has 19 total yards of offense so far.
Bobcats have 112 on the ground. High snap, bring it down, handoff Birding. He'll dive ahead for about 1 yard. It'll be 3rd down and 1. And it's coming up with the stop for the Bobcats. Jackson Hinkle, he had 8.5 tackles a year ago. He slaps himself on the helmet. He was happy he made a little stop right there. Limit the gain by Birding.
Well, when you look at it, he tackled him one arm. That was all weight room. He caught Birding with his left arm and was able to take him down. That's pretty impressive. You see another sophomore just coming off. That's Nathan Sinclair, 6'5", 350. Bobcats have so much more size than they've had in the last couple years.
3rd down and 1. Big play right here for Mason City as the Bobcats have a 5-point lead as we approach the 5.5-minute mark. Ball in the near hash for Mason City. As Dane Hansen looks to the near side or far side, takes the snap, and he runs to the near side, extend to the sideline. He's going to pick up the first down as he gets to the 45-yard line. Initially, I thought he was going to be met in the backfield and not get that first down, but he does scramble. A year ago, he was just 0 for 4 with 2 interceptions, but early on here, he hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity to show what he's really made of, but right there, that was a solid run.
Yeah, when your team keeps taking it to the house, you don't get those reps. It looked like Bobcats had a chance, had him going east to west, but he was able to just get enough around the corner, pick up a couple yards, and the very important first down.
Dane Hansen will pitch it on the sweep to Drayden Witt. Witt's got an angle as he found a seam. He's got a first down. He's down to the 30, and finally the Bobcats pile on top as he gets to the 28-yard line, and that'll move the chains again. So they have good playmakers. That's one of the things. Skill position, Drayden Witt coming back, Drew Hobart. Those guys going to be in the mix. They've already made a stamp on this one, especially Hobart with his 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown. But right here, Witt on that wide receiver pitch. It's actually a pass right there, so that'll go down for Dane Hansen.
And that's one of those. They have those 5'10", 160 guys that have some speed.
As Hansen gets the direct snap right here, the quarterback's going to run and cut to the near side. Near the hash is brought down just over the 20 as it looks like he's right at first down yardage, and they're going to mark it just short. So a 9-yard pickup for Hansen on first down, 2nd and 1 as we approach the 4-minute mark here in the opening or second quarter.
You're seeing Carson Powell, Gabe Reese, Landon Arhart. They're starting to open up some holes in that Bobcat defensive line.
Hobart split out to the far side of the field. Bennett Miller on the bottom side of your screen. It looks like we're going to have a timeout here as Duncan Furch did not like what he saw defensively lined up against Mason City, who had 3 wide receivers split out there. So Duncan Furch is back, but a lot of different faces on this coaching staff for the Bobcats this year, Dylan.
Yeah, you have Ken Winkler, dad of Brian Winkler. So Ken Winkler, top 50 high school coach of all time in Iowa, according to Des Moines Register, coaching the special teams. Brian Goodvin, last year's head coach at Ottumwa, is now working with the offensive line and defensive line. Isaiah Cox, Ottumwa's all-time leading rusher, worked down at Ottumwa last year. He's now here working with the slot and the receivers and a little bit with the linebackers.
Plus he's going to coach the girls' wrestling team.
Yeah, so that's really what he came over, is to be the first ever head coach for the women's wrestling team. He gets to help, and just to have somebody who's had that much success at this level of football now coaching up, he also seems to be the one that just is the hype guy on the side. You always need that coach that is willing to take it to
That
11.
is true.
And you see people like Kyle Smith. You see some of the young guys that are just drawn to him. And you're rounding out that staff. You've got Russ Cruz, again, volunteer offensive line, defensive line, and Alan Mann comes back. He's working a lot with those slot receivers as well.
Be sure to subscribe to KFJB-TV. Get upcoming game alerts by turning on those notifications and like our broadcast to support action here on KFJB-TV. Hansen direct snap. The quarterback takes it himself. He's down to the 10-yard line as it is a 10-yard pickup, and that will move the chains. So Hansen not heavily involved in that opening drive here tonight, but the second offensive drive of the night, he has his team deep in the red zone down to the 9-yard line.
And now they're starting just to turn up yards. They've got 68 yards. 57 of those here on this drive as Mason City continues to go a little bit high tempo, spread it out of the shotgun. Bobcats have not responded well so far.
Witt on the sweep again, and the Bobcats will extend him out. They did a nice job, I thought, initially, but Witt's going to dive ahead for at least about a yard, maybe almost 2 yards right there. So Witt kind of slipped out of a tackle. That's the thing about those shifty guys. They can kind of juke you just a little bit at the last second. So he does pick up 1 yard as we inch just over the 3-minute mark in the second quarter. It'll be second down and goal from the 8-yard line. Ball on the far side hash as Mason City in their road white top uniforms, white bottoms, Bobcats in the blue tops tonight, and the white bottoms. As Hansen lined up in the shotgun formation, he has Birding to his left, now moves into the right. Witt comes on the right side of the offensive line. Hansen will take the snap. Ignacio Macias almost blew up the play in the backfield, but Hansen slips away from it, and he will get down to the 6-yard line where he's brought down. So that'll be a gain of about 2 yards right there. It's third down and goal from the 6-yard line. Now ball moved to the near side hash, but Ignacio Macias, I call him Nacho, nearly blew this play up right here.
Yeah, he is such a force. Comes back, had 7.5 tackles for loss last year, but the Bobcats have done a much better job last 2 times of stringing out that play where you have those outside backers, your cornerbacks that are there ready to make the tackle. Can they bow up and keep the Riverhawks out of the red zone?
They come in motion with Hobart extended to the far side of the field. Bobcats going to get blocked out of the play, but they cannot. Touchdown. His third touchdown of the night. Drew Hobart is putting his name on this game here tonight as he plows in on the far side near the pylon for a 6-yard touchdown reception.
It's just a big one. They were able to, the outside wide receiver was able to turn back in. Anga Pramana out there, and he was not able to fight as Witt was able to hold him just long enough to allow Hobart to get to the corner and get 6.
I got you.
Snap goes, he'll go for 2. Hansen reaching for the pylon. Did he get there as the official went down? And he will say, yes, it is good on the 2-point conversion for the Mason City Riverhawks. So it's 20-17 after the 2-point conversion is good. 1:40 to go before halftime. As here's Hansen on the run to the near side as he just gets in the pylon. This is Bobcat football. You're watching KFJB-TV.
At Sports Plus Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy Center, we customize each patient's treatment plan to their individual needs. What does that mean? It means that not every back or knee problem is treated the same, and that your program will be unique and designed especially for your needs or problem. This improves how quickly you will return to work or sports. The Sports Plus staff is encouraging and takes pride in your successful recovery. This is just one more reason why champions choose Sports Plus Physical Therapy as their favorite place to rehabilitate and train.
Welcome back to Leonard Cole Field as we see the last touchdown play by Mason City. Just that wide receiver sweep as Hobart was able to break that tackle and cross the goal line. to make it 6, and the 2-point conversion makes it 20-17. Mason City Riverhawks now on top of your Marshalltown Bobcats. 1:40 to go in the second quarter, as our upcoming kickoff is all brought to you by Century 21, Marshalltown's #1 home team, the polyrealestateteam.com. So back to return Unga Pramada as well as Aiden Smitherman.
How's it going?
So Mason City will kick it back to the Bobcats. We'll see if their offense can strike for a quick one with just 1:40 to go before halftime. And a squib kick. And this one fielded. Gorsuch has it, past the 35, a little fancy juke up to the 40. So haven't seen Ethan Gorsuch a whole lot involved here tonight, but on the kickoff return, looks good. We do have a Riverhawk down. And so 1:33 to go for the Bobcat offense here. Dylan, what's your focus for the offense as they trail now by 3?
Well, this is, you have 93 seconds to go. You only have one timeout.
Quick math.
Do they go to the air? This offense is not built on quick strike. This offense is built on punching you in the mouth and grinding out drives. So is Coach Goodvin happy with 3 points and you maybe run a couple, see if you get something to break? Or do you come out throwing, see if you can move the ball down quickly? And I don't know.
Bobcats do get the ball first to begin the second half.
And that will go into decision-making for sure.
I think, though, when you have 93 seconds as you talently, when your talent pointed out, your quick math skills,
but
I think it's a good opportunity to get a score because then you could, tie it up, at least maybe get a long field goal.
And we just saw Luis Monge make it from 47. So the Bobcats being at the 40-yard line, they need about 30 yards to get in his range. He may be able, that might have been good from 48, 49, but that's not good from 55. So you're looking at, they need about 30 yards, and you have the opportunities, but again, you only have one timeout, as they've used one on offense and one on defense so far here in the second quarter.
That was Carter Clemsrud, the senior DB. He was down on the field, but he hustles off on his own. All right, so here comes the offense as back out underneath center, Jacob Hayes, the junior quarterback, 6'2", 200, a good night already. See if he can add to it as he has over 50 yards of rushing.
And 1-1 for 10 yards in the air.
Ragland is the deep back here. Smitherman comes in motion, handoff Ragland near side, puts a head down, spins around, and he'll reach back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
And you're not seeing them sprinting back here because one thing they don't want is to have to, though the refs are being pretty slow in moving around with the ball. Yeah, they are not looking to really do much here. Looks like as 30 seconds come off the clock.
Kyle Smith will split out to the near side of the bottom side of your TV screen. Ragland, the running back. Hayes puts a man in motion, hand off to Ragland again. He'll go off of left tackle as ball on the near side hash. It'll be 3rd down and 7. And a timeout's going to be taken by the Riverhawks. 20-17 is our score, and it makes a whole lot of sense for them.
Yeah.
As they know the Bobcats begin the second half with the football. They know, hey, we make another stop, get the ball back. That's their first time out of the first half here.
And I may just be reading into it, but it looks like both those plays were like no matter what you see on the front, we're just going to hand it off into the line. I feel like with 1.5 minutes, I feel like that's probably on the conservative side because you see the Riverhawks know what's coming. Now they have their full use. I think they now have 2 timeouts left. And what the Bobcats have been able to do in kick coverage here today, it hasn't been punt coverage. Any time on the clock is tough for what the Bobcats to give it back to the Riverhawks.
So 46 seconds to go before halftime. Coming up at halftime, we'll get you scores, adjustments, and stats at the break. Xavier Anderson on the sideline without his helmet on. He had both his right and his left ankle taped up. An unfortunate thing right there because he's definitely a great linebacker for the Bobcats.
Yeah, Tyler Anglin has been able to help running the ball, but after that last drive, you can tell Xavier Anderson would have been a huge help. He's also a linebacker that can run sideline to sideline really well.
Yeah. Something going on. There should be 49 seconds, is what we're being told. All right. Every second matters, Dylan.
It does. It does. Who knows? 3 seconds, change your life. Could change the score. More apt to change the score than your life.
You never know. What can you do in 3 seconds? Not a whole lot.
Nope, not a lot. You could win the WWE Championship in 3 seconds. Just the 1, the 2, and the 3.
Oh, there you go. I missed you. It's been good. It's been a long August.
It has. It's the dog days of summer.
Thank you, Butch.
See, but this is 3 minutes to get 3 seconds.
That,
investing time.
That is true. All right. We got her figured out. 3rd down for the Bobcats. 3rd and 7. Ball on the near side hash. Hayes underneath center. And a reverse Smitherman has it, and he can't get outside. He's going to be eaten up at the line of scrimmage, and a timeout's going to come here, and it's going to be 4th down. Only a couple seconds come off the board. Smitherman just struggled to break outside, and it was good pursuit right there by, I believe that was the corner in Kaysen Byer, the senior, but just Smitherman not able to get any sort of separation or bounce it out.
We hear a lot about Aiden and his athleticism and skill. We just haven't seen that translate so far to being on the field. Not to say that we won't. I'm positive we will this year, but we just have not seen the electricity that the coaches see in practice.
All right, so an interesting call here. 4th down. Most likely going to see Monghay out to punt. That's who we saw a lot last year when Johan Gomez was not out there.
And Hayes has punted as well. He was warming up as well. So that's always an interesting wrinkle. They will not fake it on this. But just when your starting quarterback can also punt, it at least makes you think, what are they doing? And it looks like Hayes will go out to punt.
And back to return is Drayden Witt. As you're right, Dylan, Jacob Hayes will punt. So 4th down and goal at the 7, or 4th down and 7 at the 42-yard line on their own side of the field. Hayes will call for it and bobbles the snap, picks it up, does get it away at the last second. As this one, Witt will back up on it. It takes a favorable Bobcat bounce down inside the 25 to the 24. Jacob Hayes eluding danger right there as he just kind of sideswiped that one, and the roll gives enough time for his coverage to get down there and make a bad play into a good play.
And Goodvin is furious that there isn't
roughing the punter.
Roughing the punter. He is furious at it.
That's true.
That's
a good point.
What they're saying is that he got a piece of the football. That was the call. That was the explanation that he was given.
Fire up the replay, Dylan.
One thing, it was a really nice snap. Bobcats really struggled with their long snap, but Jacob Hayes wasn't able to catch it well. It's a pass. Oh, my goodness.
And Hobart's going to leash one downfield to Witt. Caught at the 40. He's going to take it all the way in for a touchdown. Wow, you could see that one coming because Hansen passed it back behind the line of scrimmage, and Hobart found Witt for the touchdown.
And that goes, there's some levels there. Are you that conservative when you get the ball at the 40? We decided to be so. Problem was, all the time left open, Sam Griesel and Aiden Smitherman both made terrible routes. And again, Bobcats get beat by not executing, not being gap sound and finding their eyes in the backfield. Bobcats go from an incredible first half to now we'll go into the second half down 2 scores.
Yeah, that's one thing where last year Hobart burned the Bobcats for an 85-yard touchdown reception. It's just the defensive back play as the PAT is off the crossbar again, no good. So 26-7 is where our score will stay with 18 seconds before halftime. It's just at the high school level, sometimes the DBs and things like that, but it's one of those things you hope does get figured out, because against a team like this, you cannot continue to do it and stick around in a game, because Bobcat offense, yes, it is unique. Yes, it is hard to stop, but it's not built to be catching up when the other team is rolling up points left and right.
And and no one was there. Bobcats, we talked about for the Riverhawks, keys of the game, big plays and birding, 2 kickoff returns, and then a big halfback pass that goes the distance. Absolute letdown by Coach Furch's defense here as the Bobcats down 9 with 18 seconds left to go in the first half.
So big deficit now for the first time tonight, as this one's been back and forth, but this is the biggest separation between these two teams. 9-point lead now for the Riverhawks. As the Bobcat return team will head back out onto the field. Unga Pramana as well as Aiden Smitherman back to return for the Bobcats. Kickoff tonight, all brought to you by Century 21, the Poly Real Estate team. New name, same amazing service, now with more options.
Interesting thing is they ran that same play without the pass. They had thrown it behind the line of scrimmage earlier to kind of set that up, and then they go deep, and he was just wide open.
Yeah, I mean, there was nobody within almost 20 yards.
Yeah. There's open, and then there's the Antarctic wilderness. Bobcats have had a couple nice returns. I would anticipate another squib kick as they did last time.
You're definitely wrong.
Gorsuch was able to get a nice return. But again, like you mentioned, being maybe almost over cautious or conservative to end the first half. Kickoff away with just 18 seconds before halftime. And the Bobcats will field it. Sam Griesel has it. He'll get it up to the near side on the 30. And with just 13 seconds to go before halftime, I am assuming we will see Jacob Hayes put a knee in the ground, and the Bobcats head to halftime knowing they get the kickoff to begin the second half.
That would make the most sense. I think that I'd bet my paycheck on that's we're putting a knee in the ground here. But after all the festivities, all the fun, Bobcats giving up 26 first half points, way too many.
Dallin Halstead will split out to the far side. Kyle Smith on the near side. Davis Ragland is running back, ball at the 30-yard line. On their own side of the field. Hayes will bark out the signals. Hand off to Ragland. Ragland will pick up 2, and that is how we will end the first half here tonight at Leonard Cole Field. Bobcats take a 9-point deficit to the locker room. 26-17 is our halftime score. Coming up, we'll get halftime stats, adjustments. Plus, we'll take a look at the Central State Bank scoreboard updates. You're watching Bobcat football on KFJB-TV.
You're an empty nester closing in on that retirement property. Chances are your plans didn't include mom moving in, but life happens and you do the right thing. Wells Fargo Advisors can help. For more than 125 years, we've created wealth management and investment strategies aimed at achieving our clients' personal financial goals. When retirement means caring for yourself and a loved one, turn to Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far.
Wells Fargo Advisors is located at 14 East South Ridge Road in Marshalltown. Call them at 641-752-5401. They're a member SIPC.
Miller Middle School turns 100 next year. It has served generations of Marshalltown students well. Education has changed dramatically since Miller opened in 1925. Miller faces a long list of challenges, including limited technology capabilities, lack of space for learning, gathering, and new programming to prepare our students for the next step in their journey. Voters will consider a referendum in November to reimagine Miller for future generations. To learn more, go to marshalltowncsdfuture.com.
At Greg Young Automotive, we go the extra mile for our customers across Iowa. Why do customers choose us and keep coming back? Because our commitment to exceptional service and satisfaction never wavers. With our extensive network of dealerships throughout Iowa, we leverage unbeatable pricing and offer a better inventory selection than other dealerships. Visit any of our 6 locations across the state and experience the Greg Young difference, where we'll go the extra mile for you.
How can you help Marshalltown High School and enjoy a mouth-watering burger at the same time? By ordering the Bobcat Burger at Legends American Grill. 2 quarter-pound patties with crisp bacon strips, sauteed onions, and melted American cheddar, jack, and Swiss cheeses on top of fresh shredded lettuce on a toasted bun. It's absolutely delicious. $1 from every Bobcat Burger sold is donated by Legends to Marshalltown High School activities. So, enjoy a Bobcat Burger and help MHS. The Bobcat Burger, another exclusive from Legends American Grill in Marshalltown.
Sportsmanship starts with us.
As a student athlete, I need to model good behavior and represent my school appropriately.
That means respecting my teammates, coaches, opponents, the officials, and fans.
If I do that, so will others, and being a good sport becomes a way of life.
To all of Iowa's student athletes getting ready to compete, remember, sportsmanship starts with us.
The Halftime Report, presented by Scouting America. Adventure on.
Welcome back to Leonard Cole Field as the Marshalltown Bobcats at halftime are trailing 26-17 to the Mason City Riverhawks, and it was a beautiful week number 1. Things started out great as the Bobcats kicked off in this one. A muffed punt on the first drive of Mason City here tonight had the Bobcats getting the football back at the 20-yard line, which really set them up as Davis Ragland got all carries on that drive, 20 yards, plowed in from a yard out. So it was a tremendous start here tonight for the Bobcats.
Bobcats out-physicaled them right at the line of scrimmage, making big holes, and Ragland will make his own. It was a fantastic start for the Bobcats.
So 7-0, the Bobcats would be up early on there, right around 7 minutes and 20 seconds. But the impending kickoff would go the way of Mason City. And it was all Hobart fielding it for a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
And that's where Xavier Anderson got hurt. If you saw him get undercut there, that's where he hurt his ankle right on that play.
So Hobart made it 7-6 at that point after the PAT hit the crossbar. The Bobcats get the football back and drive down the field on a 4-minute drive starting at the 38. So a nice drive, and Jacob Hayes was responsible for some really big plays, including a 3-yard touchdown run that you see right there at the 3:11 mark, making it 14-6 at that point. And Jacob Hayes showed his mobility early on here tonight.
Yeah, he had a keeper early on that big 27-yard run, but he showed mobility, showed fleet of foot, and that offensive line treated him really well.
Then the kickoff, again, would be a problem on the very next play. And it was Hobart from 95 yards out taking it to the house again.
And you see on all the touchdowns for Mason City, Bobcats trying to cut inside of blockers, leaving wide open lanes for Mason City just to run east to west over and over again.
And Hobart putting a stamp on this game early tonight. That came at the 2:56 mark in the opening quarter of play. We would head to the second quarter for our next score as the Bobcats put together a 6+ minute drive on a 47-yard field goal by Luis Monghay with 7:04 to go in the second quarter. And it was 47 yards out, but it could have been much further than that, as at least a 50-yarder would have been good right there by Monghay.
And with a 9-point deficit, does that kicking ability, will he be called on later in this game to have to make another big one?
So Luis Monge made it 17-12 at that point. 5-point lead. You were feeling pretty darn good about yourself.
You were, and the Bobcats have been able to handle them over and over. Only one sustained drive, a lot of energy still on the sidelines. They could move the ball, score whenever they wanted to.
To that point, Mason City's offense had only been on the field once, so they come on the field for the second time, and Hansen put together a nice drive. The starting quarterback, he hooked up with Drew Hobart for a 6-yard touchdown pass right here.
And just beat him again. Niehaus trying to cut inside of that block. That's a foreshadowing of an adjustment I'll talk about. But they try to jump on the inside of that block, and nobody is there.
Bobcats, with 1:40 to go in the second quarter, decided to be very conservative. They would punt the ball away, and I don't know, was it the very next play or was it was the very next play? Drew Hobart got the pass from Hansen. And Hobart, with the double pass, he fielded it behind the line of scrimmage, passes to Witt, and nobody was within at least 15 yards as Witt takes it for a 75-yard touchdown reception, getting the pass from Hobart. So Hobart has been a part of all 4 scores tonight for Mason City.
I sure hope he graduates early. I'm positive the kid can get out in 3 years. We don't need to see the Hobart show continue. Maybe he'll graduate by halftime.
That's where we stand at the break. 26-17 is our score. We'll get a scoreboard update and see what else is going on around Central Iowa. This is Bobcat Football. You're watching KFJB-TV.
Coach, 62. First down. We're doing this so that the kids can continue to play. Like we used to enjoy playing when I was in high school. I understand how fun it was, and I want that same fun to be had by the kids now. So that's why we need more officials to keep these games going on.
The Halftime Report, presented by Scouting America. Adventure on.
Week 1 here at Leonard Coalfield. Bobcats are trailing 26-17 at the break. They'll get the kickoff to begin the second half here tonight. Time for a scoreboard update, which is all brought to you by Central State Bank. Discover what Central State Bank can do for you. Locations in Ames, State Center, and West Des Moines.
Shout out to Jesse DeMeyer back at the KFJB-TV studios for the updates. Waukee Northwest is beating Johnston 17-14. Waukee is winning over the Little Cyclones 45-14. Des Moines East is taking care of Des Moines North at home 10-0. Ottumwa beating Keokuk, or if you're down there it's called Kilcook, 22-12. And then Dowling Catholic is beating Cedar Rapids Kennedy 17-0, and that is at halftime.
Halftime stats and adjustments are all coming up. Coming up after the game, we will chat with head coach Adam Goodvin, all brought to you by Edward Jones Zach Wall, your financial advisor in Marshalltown. We'll also take a look at our Lily Mae Sweet Play of the Game and our Opa Grill in Marshalltown, player of the game. All of that ahead. Second half around the corner as well. This is Bobcat Football. You're watching KFJB-TV.
The right insurance agent can make all the difference. Assured Partners agents represent multiple insurance companies. They can pick and choose from a larger variety of outstanding insurance options. Assured Partners also handles life and health insurance and Medicare supplement coverage. With access to local, regional, and national insurance companies, Assured Partners will create policies tailored to the coverage you need. For more information, go online to assuredpartners.com/Marshalltown. Power through partnership with Assured Partners in Marshalltown, Toledo, and West Des Moines.
The Halftime Report, presented by Scouting America. Adventure on.
Halftime stats and adjustments, all presented by Ken's Transmission of Marshalltown. Jacob Hayes with a couple of really nice rushes here tonight, including this one right here. And Bobcats have run the ball really well here tonight.
Bobcats have 117 yards of rushing on the ground, led by the quarterback, Jacob Hayes. Jacob Hayes has 7 carries for 50 yards. That does include a touchdown. Davis Ragland, 10 carries, 38 yards, and a touchdown. Aiden Smitherman, 3 carries, -2 yards. And Tyler England, the sophomores, had a good first half, 7 carries, 31 yards. Jacob Hayes is 1 for 1 in the air with 10-yard pass to Davis Ragland. Then you go down to the Hobart show. 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. Nicely enough, he has 0 yards on rushing, but he is 1 for 1 in the air with a 75-yard touchdown pass in right before the half. You have Dane Hansen, quarterback, 4 carries, 23 yards. Lincoln Birding, starting running back, 3 carries, 13 yards. In total of 36 on the ground with 100 through the air, as Dane Hansen's also 2 for 3 with 24 yards.
That it?
All to say is we've got a little mathing issue at the bottom of our scorecard. The 75-yard touchdown went to Drayden Witt, correct?
It did, yeah.
Yeah, so Drayden Witt has 3 catches for 92 yards, and Drew Hobart also has a touchdown receiving. So 2 kickoff return touchdowns, a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown. Let's stop it there. We don't need any other kind of touchdowns. But that'll be 131.
Are you sure he's not ineligible tonight?
I think our very own Zach Tomish could do some Photoshop of something.
Yeah, the first half has been all Drew Hobart, and we knew it but would or could be here tonight. It definitely has lived up to it. That's our halftime stats, all presented by Ken's Transmission of Marshalltown. All right, so adjustments for the second half here. 2 teams, 2-7 a year and ago. Bobcats have not won a Week 1 game since the 2019 season. That's right, it was Ken Hughey with the play-by-play. I was in your shoes that night when the Marshalltown Bobcats defeated the Des Moines North Polar Bears. So what kind of polar vortex needs to happen in the second half for the Bobcats to get a victory here tonight?
Well, we've talked about it defensively, and this goes to kicking. I just don't see us kicking off to them again, so I think that kind of fixes itself by just avoiding it. But you see in all the different angles, Bobcats have been trying to come under that block and push everything to the outside. They're pushing them to where there's no help. You need to funnel it back to your backers, set that edge, set that corner. Bobcats have done terribly. They must do that in the second half. And I'm a little nervous offensively. It seems that they're going just straight, that Jacob's not reading the keys as much as he was early on, and a lot of it's just straight handoff to that running back right into the line, where the Riverhawks have definitely bowed up defensively.
Yeah, that is for sure. Bobcats will definitely need to do that in the second half to be successful. Getting that stats and adjustments here at halftime, all presented by Ken's Transmission, your family-owned transmission experts. You pointed at me. Did you need something?
We were pointing. We were on TV.
Oh, we were?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was pointing to you.
I was busy doing my job.
I'm still a school kid at heart.
Hey, there I am on TV.
There we are.
Hey, it's week number 1. Bobcats receive the second half kickoff. When we come back, this is Bobcat football. You're watching KFJB-TV.
Have you ever seen what it takes to fix a transmission? It takes a lot of patience, a lot of experience, and a whole lot of talent. At Ken's Transmission, they have all the above. Family owned and operated with over 62 years of experience in all areas of transmission, keeping your vehicle shifting smoothly, and routine maintenance, repair, and replacement, including automatic and manual. For reputable service you can trust, Ken's Transmission. Ken's Transmission at 306 East Anson Street in Marshalltown is a proud sponsor of the Marshalltown Bobcats.
Drugs? I didn't mean to say that. As the Bobcats coming back here. I said throat lozenge last night to Deegan,
my
stepson, and he had never heard of throat lozenge before. Can you believe that?
I'm positive he had. He is a teenage boy. He just wasn't listening.
No, he was giddy. So anyway, things you say. You know,
It's the
cough drops are not drugs, but they could be.
If you were with us off air, that would have been it would have made a lot more sense. But that's what happens with live mics here. It's week 1.
That is for sure. It was not an offering.
No.
All
The
right.
district attorney is just a few rows down.
Now next week we're gonna have to run a bunch of say no to drugs commercials, which is fine with me.
I think I'm a 3-time DARE graduate. They ran us through it a lot back in the early 90s. So I have dared to say no for
This is that
30
moment
years.
where you say it's week 1 for everyone,
Yep.
including us.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get back on track here, huh?
That sounds good to me. How about the Bobcats get back on track as well?
That's for sure. Both teams warming up as a little bit. Always seems like week 1, it's always extended. Timeouts extended, halftime a little bit extended just to allow everybody to get, kind of the proper downtime to rehydrate and make sure. One thing I've noticed here tonight, I know Mason City had a couple of
a lot of cramping.
Cramps, but that is something we normally see out of the Bobcats in week number 1. To this point, I don't think I've seen a Bobcat really cramp.
No, there has been no issue. I was a little surprised seeing some of the cramping just because it's a gorgeous night. If it was earlier in the week, we'd be cramping just being up here because, those mid-90 temps or whatnot, but it's been a beautiful night. Bobcats seem to be ready to roll. It comes down, and we talked about it in the pregame. A thin line between love and hate. It's the small little things that the Bobcats just have not been able to do here tonight that give up 26 points. But, we made the 47-yard field goal. So far, Mason City 0 for 2 on single extra points, and 1 for 2 on 2-point conversions. You have a little bit. It very well could be 28-14, but the Bobcats have won that kicking game, at least offensively there, and making this closer than it could have been.
And also, you really have to feel that, this team was excited. They thought there was forward momentum, all that kind of stuff. They've kind of matched it here in week number 1. You kind of look back to last year, and, every year there's excitement. You think, things are going to go well, but I haven't seen a ton of penalties in an offense that has changed schemes, taking care of those little small things. So, we knew that Mason City was going to come out here, show off Drew Hobart because he's a special player. But also, same fact, you have to really do like what the Bobcats have done here tonight. But they've got to do it a lot better here in the second half if they want to get a week 1 win.
Yeah, I feel like the Bobcats need to find who can make that electric play. And that's what Tate Ring brought last year. That home run hitter. That's what Trey Brooks brought last year when he was healthy. That home run hitter. Who is that person? Honestly, I think the home run hitter, probably Tyler England. I think he's got the juice that can go.
We are ready to go in the second half. Kickoff all presented by Century 21, the Poly Real Estate team. New name, same amazing service now with more options. Mata as well as Smitherman back to return for the Bobcats. Mason City has it teed up. 12 minutes to go in the third quarter on the clock, and here we go. A squib kick down to the 15-yard line. Smitherman will get it near side. He comes to the 30, finds a little seam up at the 40, and spins around off of a tackle, off another tackle, trying to get away from another Riverhawk, but he will be brought down just shy of the 45-yard line, as he'll be at the 43-yard line near the 44, and really good starting position right there. Yeah, the Bobcats have not taken a kickoff to the house, but they've had a couple of really nice returns tonight.
They've had great field position. They've been 35 plus most of the night, and so it's been short field for the most part. Kind of feels like we need to score on this drive somehow.
Yeah, Jacob Hayes underneath center as Ragland is the back. Handoff off left tackle. Ragland kind of cuts it back in, inside the numbers there as he'll go outside of left tackle for a 2-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 8 as the clock will roll with 30 seconds gone here in the third quarter. As everybody looking to the sideline, and you touched on it, and we showed a shot earlier here tonight, but everybody on those wristbands, as you see right there, checking the play and getting everybody on the same play. I think that probably helps to a degree just to make sure that, guys don't have to overthink it.
Right, and they only have their responsibility on their wristband.
Hand off. No, they fake it as a keeper by Hayes, and it's a good play as Ragland was tackled, but Hayes darted forward over the 50s at the 49-yard line. So a nice run right there by Jacob Hayes. We've seen him do that a few times. It brings up a manageable 3rd and 2. Ball resting on the near side hash.
Yeah, Hayes is just looking at that end. If the end crashes in, he's going to keep the ball every time.
Gorsuch again does that fake like he's going to go in motion, and he'll go back to left side of the offensive line. And Hayes this sneak right up the middle. Mason City not prepared for it. He's over the 45 and a 1st down for Jacob Hayes.
Second time they've done that. The third time they've done it, they did very similar on the touchdown run where it looked like the middle of that Riverhawks offense. If we had a shot on that, it's almost as if they're not paying attention to the snap, because he ran right through Main Street there.
All right, so the clock counting here, almost 2 minutes gone on this opening drive for the second half. Reminiscent of what the Bobcats did on their second drive when they went right down the field and scored a touchdown. Ragland the back here. Hayes keeps it himself, did not hand off to Ragland, goes right up the middle. They say the ball comes out, but the official's right there on top of it saying that Hayes was down. And he's marked down at the 41-yard line. It's a gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
The veer offense, this type of offense, the triple option, is so much on timing, and that play looked disjointed from the get-go. It seemed they weren't moving as one piece, but it was kind of a broken system from the word go. Lucky to get 2 yards.
Hayes will operate here underneath center, ball resting in the middle of the field. Handoff to Ragland. He powers past 3 Riverhawks as he breaks tackles. Getting some yak right there. Yards after contact near a 1st down, and it is a 1st down. That will move the chains. Huge run right there for a 1st down for Ragland. Looking good as Riverhawks just struggling to bring him down. They're on 2nd and 8.
He just ran right through. Joseph Hauser is 6'3", 220, and Davis just took him for a piggyback ride.
Ragland right near 50 yards of rushing here tonight after that one. As he's still in the backfield, and they fake the handoff. Hayes keeps it himself outside the hashes at the 30, down inside to the 28. And so another solid run by Hayes on 1st down, nearly a 5-yard pickup. That's one thing we saw last year. Jacob Hayes standing upright a little bit more. He's getting those shoulder pads lower. You talked about him being kind of a little bit of a finesse player, but he is showing that physicality here tonight, week 1.
This is the most physical I've seen him play, and I love it, is he's dropping those shoulders a little bit more as I think he gets more comfortable with his reads in this offense. He's making that step and going more confidently than he has in the past.
Hayes taps his center, Owen Eaton on the right side, and he'll now snap it as Ragland gets the handoff. He breaks more tackles, and he has a 1st down inside the 25, marked at the 23. Officials say move the chains as we are under 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, and the Bobcats with a nice 4-minute drive already approaching the red zone in Riverhawk territory.
Bobcats over 150 yards of rushing offense here tonight, just chewing it up. And it doesn't have to be that unique or that pretty if you own the line and can continue to move the sticks.
Ball resting on the near side hash. 1st and 10. Ball at the 23-yard line for Hayes. Puts Smitherman in motion, keeps the ball, and he won't pick up much. He'll spin around for 2, though. It's 2nd and 8. This offense seems like it's much more well-designed to pick up, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, like the old saying says.
One thing last year is how often would the offensive line be 2 yards in the back backfield right at the snap. It happened routinely. So the fact that the Bobcats are able to match up and at points own the line of scrimmage automatically makes us better off. And we've also, even on the plays, the start is our bad plays are 1-yard gains, 2-yard gains. They aren't 5-yard losses.
And you really got to give it up to that offensive line down there. They've done a really nice job to help move the sticks time after time here tonight. And it looks like we might have ourselves a false start by one of the wing backs right there. I'm not sure if it was Sam Griesel moving just a little bit early on that play, but nevertheless, this is going to back up the Bobcats 5 yards. But offensive line, Lincoln Parker at left tackle, Jackson Hinkle at left guard, Owen Eaton at center, John Schaefer at right guard, and Arian Hancock is at right tackle. Those guys need to get a little bit of love from Jacob Hayes and the rest of the offense because they've done a really nice job here tonight.
If Opo would be for it, and we could do
it, we could feed the line.
It could be like the old Washington football team in the 80s with the Hogs. You know, just have the big Bobcats out there, all 5 of them out there, getting them all gift certificates.
Why do you got to say Hogs and offensive linemen? You think that?
Because that's what they were called.
Offensive linemen are people too, Dylan.
Luke Lachey's dad was a Hog.
A pitch out to Sam Griesel. Makes a nice cut. Loose at the 10. 5. Touchdown. Sam Griesel. He holds the ball high as he scores for the Bobcats. It is a 26-yard touchdown rush for the Bobcats as they get back on the scoreboard.
And we've got a man down. I think that's Birding. But that was an absolutely tremendous play there.
We'll see a flag for probably excessive celebration, but how about it? Week 1, who cares?
You go to that third level where Jacob handoff or hold, but this one he gets to the pitch and the little twirl by Sam Griesel hits to the house. Great block on the outside. I think that might have been Halstead that got the block out there, and Griesel takes it to the house. Great job by the senior. You know what? You got to do it for your school. I think that's what he said to you.
That is true. You got to play sports. I like that he's got that mentality of, like, trying to get as many kids out possible.
Yep.
We've talked about that so many times about numbers trailing other schools. And, his older brother, Grant, was definitely a true Bobcat at heart.
Yeah, he is one of those, for those old enough to remember Brian Cardinal at Purdue, that type of player. Hate to go against him. Love to have him on your team. I will say Sam has next level, like he's got movie star hair. He's got, when you're a middle-aged man.
He's always tan too. You know what I mean? He's got that nice complexion. He's going to age well. I'm anticipating that.
I think so. That head of hair, that's what we worry about here. So yeah, a little pitch out there. Able to get past Birding. Great block, and I believe that was Halstead up there.
Kyle Smith as well as Smitherman near the end of that play. I don't know if that's an unsportsmanlike conduct.
I think that's
a little just like, hey, it's week 1. I don't believe Sam Griesel did not score a touchdown last year. That might be his first varsity touchdown.
It's his first varsity touchdown.
So,
and Birding
I got to rain on that parade.
Birding is the injured Riverhawk as he kind of cramped.
A pivotal player, running back and linebacker for this Mason City squad. So the 15-yard penalty will be issued on the kickoff.
Well, it just takes us 15 yards further from Hobart.
That is true. Maybe Munghay can put one in the back of the end zone, and that would be a good feeling, but probably not backed up 15 yards.
He could put it just outside of the playable field.
I would take the penalty over a kick return for a touchdown, that's for sure. Munghay on for the PAT here to get the Bobcats back within 2. It's up, and he will drive it straight through. Just off the left. It looked like it was straight through, but just off the last second, and off the left, just to the left of the upright. So it will remain a 3-point game, 26-23. Mason City with the lead right here on your home for the Cats, KFJB-TV.
Some drivers trade cars every year or every other year. Some drive their cars till they drop. Whatever kind of driver you are, Lennox Employees Credit Union is here to get you into the car for your style of driving. You're invited to go to our website, lennoxecu.com, for membership eligibility and loan rates, or call the office to talk to a loan officer. The loan process is quick and easy. Low auto loan rates from Lennox Employees Credit Union, 1004 East Main Street in Marshalltown. Member NCUA.
Welcome back to Leonard Cold Field. Bobcats back within 3 after a really nice drive, almost a 6-minute drive to begin the second half, and they get themselves back within 3. It's 26-23 now, and that one kind of puts a little bit of that unsettled feeling you might have had as a Bobcat fan in your stomach aside.
Yeah, because the first 3 drives, they dominated the line the whole 3 times. Then they got a little bit stale and just said, hey, we'll go into the half. That didn't work out as Bobcats gave up a touchdown. So how do you respond? You go right back to the way you started. Own the line of scrimmage, drive it right down their throat, and score 6.
Kickoff all presented by Century 21. Let Kurt and Kristen Polly offer you the knowledge and service that you deserve. So 15-yard penalty will have the Bobcats kicking off at their own 25-yard line. Not what you want to see for Luis Monghay and crew.
No.
Monghay a year ago on kickoffs, 24 kickoffs and 7 touchbacks. Not in position to do one of those right now. An angled kickoff to the near side. Witt fields it, almost steps out of bounds at the 32-yard line. He'll take it as he breaks a couple of tackles and finally brought down over midfield at the 46-yard line. It looks like it'll be spotted. Holy smokes. This kickoff return team has been good for Mason City, but I think Bobcats making them look like all-stars here tonight, unfortunately.
Well, and Witt did a pirouette on the sideline. You see him over here. He's just tapping his toes, and he
was
never
he out
went
right
out.
there?
No,
he
was.
didn't.
But then just missed tackle. Gorsuch misses tackle. England misses the tackle. And lucky enough, they're able to wrestle him down. Now it's time for the Bobcats to bow up as Jamison Niehaus is in for the injured Xavier Anderson at that linebacking position.
And I think you mentioned Gorsuch. He's on the near side holding his head as here goes a pitch to the left side and just blowing by Bobcats. New running back into the mix as that's Jaden Williams, a junior running back at 6 foot 183 after we saw Birding was injured. And it looked like Ethan Gorsuch holding his head. He's on the bench right now. Get looked at by the trainer. And do you see Xavier Anderson on the sideline? I did not.
I don't. I don't see him anywhere.
I don't see a 1 out there anywhere.
And he's pretty easy to spot. He's a big dude.
Yeah, he is. Well, the Bobcat defense has work cut out for him as on that play, it gets Mason City 20 yards and down to the 25-yard line. And now a scrum and a gain of 2 yards as Williams got the handoff again, going right up the middle. And the Bobcats, a whole host of guys in blue, making the tackle with 5:37 on the clock. So Bobcats, again, seeing Riverhawks get near the end zone, red zone here. And one of those situations where you got to come up with a stop here on this drive if you want to just keep this game moving back in your direction here tonight. Snap to Hanson. Hanson, the quarterback, is going to cut to the near side. He fakes Pramada out a little bit there to buy him enough room. He might have enough for a first down, and a late hit's going to be called on the Bobcats. It looks like Jamison Niehaus is going to pick up a foul. I believe that was on as Niehaus a little bit late in there. The carry was good for a first down on 2nd down and 8, and then the hit out of bounds.
And Enga's been beat to the outside 2 or 3 times here tonight. And
actually, no, that was not Niehaus. Excuse me. That was Wilder, I believe.
It's John Schoenfelder is 32.
Was it 32? Okay,
yeah.
It was J.J. Schoenfelder right there who will pick up that. I feel like the tackle was already being made and then just continued out of bounds. I did not feel like that should have been a penalty.
No, that's pretty weak sauce in my opinion. But
it is 1st and goal from the 7. 7-yard line right now. Ball on the near side hash here for the Mason City Riverhawks. A sweep again to Witt. He's going to find a lane as he cuts it back towards the 5-yard line and push back there. A gain of a couple yards.
And Schoenfelder just stood him up right there. There you see Xavier, but you see Schoenfelder.
That was Gorsuch.
Or Gorsuch,
right
sorry. You see Schoenfelder just staying home there, being able to get the tackle. This is 4-down territory, I think, all night long for the Riverhawks. They have not had much to speak of from the kicking game.
2 wide receivers set. Witt comes in motion, fake it. Hansen keeps it. Pramana will wrap up as Hansen dives for the end zone. He's going to be about 2 yards short, marked down at the 3. So well short. So Pramana gets the tackle right there. And it's going to bring up 3rd down and goal at the 3 on the near side hash. That was a nice tackle right there, as the Bobcats needed that stop.
And if I'm a Bobcat, I'm looking for number 1.
Yep. He's going to be in the slot on the left side of the offense. And they'll pack it in tight. I don't know what's going on right there. Hansen got underneath center and then went ahead. And there was late pushing by Andrew Novak. They were trying to help their quarterback out, but nothing doing. So that's going to bring up 4th down and goal from the 3-yard line. As doing the pushing from late was Andrew Novak, the tight end. He's actually down with his helmet off. I think he got his right ankle stepped on as he's kind of flexing that around. So an injury timeout on the field.
They tried to do like a quick count. It was remnant, not the same play call, but the same philosophy as what Jacob Hayes scored on and had another big play. But they just went for the tush push from the 3, and it looked like Novak got his ankle
stepped
early. And
yeah.
It was early because he's hopping on one leg out there.
Novak, their tight end. They have already lost Lincoln Birding tonight. We have not seen him back since he
just came back in that play.
Okay.
That play had first come back.
But we had seen Williams come in to relieve him at running back with a carry. And so an injured player down on the field right now. Let's get a scoreboard update, all brought to you by Central State Bank. Dylan, what kind of scores do we have so far here tonight?
Well, we go to the metro area, and Waukee is beating Ames over on Highway 30, 59-14. Johnson is winning 21-17 against Waukee Northwest. And then you look at Des Moines East and Des Moines North still at 10, and Ottumwa is beating Kilcuck 22-12.
4th and goal from the 3. What do you think Mason City's drawn up over there? You know they are going for it.
I think they're going jet. I think that jet action where
it's
they can get it to the outside, I think because they've tried to go off script a little bit in these three play, not really going Hobart's way, and the Bobcats have stood tall. I think anything you can get to the edge is where the Riverhawks have had tons of success.
Well, it's a 3-point game right now. Still a lot of time left. You have the whole 4th quarter, still 4:22 to go in this 3rd quarter right now. It's 4th and goal from the 3, but you would love to come up with a stop right here against this Mason City offense. On the far side of the field, it is Drew Hobart matched up with Aiden Smitherman. Hansen in the shotgun formation. High snap, brings it down. Hansen's going to scramble. He's going to be at the goal line and short. He's going to be pushed back. Pramada is in there as well as Hinkle and Nacho.
Man, goodness gracious, a high snap.
I think that was the difference.
And then a great job by Pramana.
And Ragland was the one who actually finished him off.
Yeah, Ragland was able to turn his shoulders and turn him back. Great job. But again, I'm not a Riverhawk fan, but if I'm watching our broadcasts in north central Iowa, I'm like, why didn't Hobart see the football? I don't care what it is. It looked like he was a decoy that whole time. Bobcats have zero answer for number 1 in the Riverhawks uniform.
So they go 54 yards and get turned away at the 1-yard line as Hansen stopped and Ragland finishes him off. And a huge play by the senior linebacker. Bobcats, it is 1st down at the 1-yard line and a carry for the quarterback, a sneak right up the middle, and a great job by Jacob Hayes to move the ball up for almost a 10-yard gain on first down and 9-yard pickup, 2nd and 1 coming up. And this is going to be a tough offense to stop if they continue to play like this all 9 weeks.
I remember Iowa when they had Nate Stanley against USC, ran the quarterback sneak 4 times in a row and just ran it down their throat. I would not be against that philosophy right now.
And again, it's a quarterback run with Jacob Hayes. First down, he is up to the 16-yard line. So 2 carries, 15 yards for Jacob Hayes.
Yeah, the junior play caller is knocking on his first 100-yard rushing game.
Wow.
As a high school student here in Marshalltown, I believe he's up around 85 yards of offense.
Approaching the
rushing offense.
Approaching the 3-minute mark here in the third quarter. Bobcats trailing by 3, 26-23. A turnover on downs by Mason City, and the Bobcats moving the ball on their own end of the field at the 16-yard line. A handoff. England breaks a tackle. He's loose at the 30. Can he pull away? He's up to the 45-yard line and brought down by the ankle tackle. But a huge burst right there as getting away was England. And a nice run for the Bobcats as Kyle Smith is going to be down back at the 25-yard line. Hopefully he is all right, but that was a big burst. We were waiting to see England, and you see it right here off left guard, a huge gaping hole as
he's got juice.
Yeah, just that hitting that extra level after he makes one nice cut and finds himself up near midfield at the 45-yard line. So hopefully Kyle Smith is okay right here as he's being checked out by the trainers. We will step aside. This is Bobcat football on KFJB-TV. 26-23 is our score back here at Leonard Field. Brandon Lewis, Dylan Does alongside me here tonight. Great to have you along here on KFJB-TV. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and get those upcoming game alerts by turning on your notifications and support our coverage of Bobcat athletics. It's week number 1. Bobcats trailing by 3. They have the football as they're at the 45-yard line after a really nice England run, as he's had a really nice night tonight on the ground in limited carries, but I think he's going to probably tote the rock a good chunk for the rest of the way here tonight.
Yeah, he's 8 carries, 60 yards. Bobcats has a total of 223 yards on the ground, but we were talking about it when we went off the air. He's got balance. He got hit low, was able to retain his balance, got good vision, good burst. He runs with some power. He's kind of got the whole package. He just doesn't have the maturity and the experience at the varsity level so far.
Well, Sam Griesel got in the mix with a touchdown on the last Bobcat offensive possession to get it back to a 3-point game. Can they take the lead back on this drive? We'll see. At the 45-yard line on their own side of the field, Ragland, oh no, that's England again. He's over midfield into Riverhawk territory. It is a solid 6-yard pickup, and that'll move the ball over midfield into Riverhawk territory, resting at the 49 and now to the 48. So just again, England also, you know, being such a young guy, he also has patience. I don't know if you mentioned that, but, I mean, he waited for a block to set up there and followed it.
And he can run outside the tackles, but just as comfortable inside of the tackles. Really impressive drive that started at the 1.
Smitherman comes in motion, handoff England. He's carrying on his back Andrew Novak and ends up picking up about 2 yards to bring up 3rd and 1. Man, how many sophomore running backs do you see that are able to carry other guys like Novak, who's a senior at 6'5", 210 on their back to pick up a couple of yards like Tyler England, the sophomore, did.
The only guys that do that are the guys that are going to play in college somewhere at some level.
Hayes will run it right up the middle. The quarterback will have the first down, as this one's going to be over the 45-yard line, as we see that last run by England right there, carrying Novak on his back. But
That's
in the
leg
mix,
day.
That is for sure. 90 seconds to go in this third quarter with the Bobcats trailing by 3, 26-23. Riverhawks have the lead, turned away on the doorstep of a touchdown. And the Bobcats starting at the 1, now in Riverhawk territory, as Hayes reads that wristband. Ball in the near side hash, resting at the 42-yard line. Smitherman comes in motion. Hayes keeps it himself, and it's read well by the Riverhawks. He's going to be pushed down at the line of scrimmage.
That was, that again was, with timing so important, it looked like just off kilter from the get-go. Wanted to look at the handoff, held it late, and just got no go on it. It is nice to see Kyle Smith is back out there in the near side.
I think he rolled an ankle up or something on the drive here as he was down. Good to go now. Talon Halstead split out to the far side. Kyle Smith on the bottom side. England, the running back. Hayes underneath center. 20 seconds to go in this third quarter. Smitherman comes in motion around the end. Hayes will look to go to the air. He's got pressure. Throws it into the flat off the fingertips of Talon Halstead. And it's incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 11.
And that was one where you think that going play action on something like that, you're going to get a little bit of time. Mason City, the blitzer on that, did a great job of not reading the fake. Jacob was elusive enough to get it away, but he paid for it. He got popped pretty good.
Well, Gorsuch was not feeling well before the game. Zane Moore is out due to illness. So, unfortunately, a couple guys in their normal, either that slot, what Coach calls it, or wide receiver position. So, Bobcats a little light, but still doing a nice job tonight. Smitherman with the end around. He does break a tackle, and he is nailed, though, back at the 47-yard line. And what looked to be a extremely positive drive stalls as the Bobcats get into Riverhawk territory. If anything, they have flipped the field position game for the positive here, but a man down for the Mason City Riverhawks. That will end the third quarter, though. We will head to the fourth, and we'll get a scoreboard update when we come back. Here at Leonard Colt Field, it's the Bobcats trailing 26-23 to the Riverhawks on your home for the Cats. News Talk 1230 AM, 93.9 FM, and right here on KFJB-TV. Leonard Colt Field, a nice crowd on hand for week number 1, as even a really nice crowd and a good student section, as you can see on KFJB-TV on the far side of the field for the Mason City Riverhawk faithful. But week number 1, 26-23, Bobcats trailing by 3. They have the ball. It's 4th down as we'll begin here momentarily, but time to get a scoreboard update, all brought to you by Central State Bank.
Johnston beats Waukee Northwest 28-17. Indianola beats Urbandale 21-17. Waukee beats Ames 59-14.
26-23 is our score back here at Leonard Colt Field. I'm Brandon Lewis. Dylan Does alongside me here tonight, as just been a fun week 1 as the Bobcats, the lone score in that third quarter. It's hard to believe that after all the points we saw in the first half for Mason City, 26, Bobcats have come out defensively in the second half and really a nice job. I mean, they turned away that bend but don't break defense.
Yeah, being able to stop them at the 1 and then being able to move the ball out. We didn't get a score, but we completely flipped the field.
4th down and 15 after that loss on the last play. And the punt crew is coming out as Jacob Hayes will punt it away.
Jacob's got to do a much better job of being sure-handed with the snap than he was last time.
And this one cleanly gotten away. It'll hit at the 20 as it angles towards the sideline, and that is a really solid punt as it's out inside the 20 here tonight as the clock is not rolling. As finally there, they put 12 and we'll run off a few seconds here. We'll guesstimate.
One of the things I want to highlight, and we've seen it on both the punt opportunities today. Last year, near the end of the season, the long snapping was such a mess that we got punts blocked over and over just because it took forever to get back there. They've been crisp and clean all night long. I think Owen Eaton is doing that tonight, but they've been really, really good.
So the 16-yard line is where, actually 17-yard line is where Mason City will start on this drive. And before it even gets going, a timeout is called. And we will take a timeout with the Riverhawks as well. 11:55 to go in this one. It's 26-23. Bobcats are trailing right here on your home for the Cats, KFJB-TV. As we come back out of the timeouts, it will be a pitch to the wide receiver who's been heavily involved in Hobart here tonight. A flag flies. I think we're going to see holding on the running back in Jaden Williams for the Mason City Riverhawks as he was blocking for his wide receiver, Drew Hobart, on that wide receiver pitch sweep. And this is going to back up the Riverhawks here on this play, which it looked to be a decent gain of about 7 yards or so right there for Hobart.
Yeah, that's a big play. We mentioned it earlier. You see it on the outside there. It's trying to see where they called that.
I think it was a little reach late by Williams right there as he was blocking Griesel potentially.
Yeah, I didn't see that initially. Might have been even a little bit before that. But this has been a super clean game as far as penalties go. Enough mistakes, but they just aren't infractions. But this is a big one.
Well, we're all not perfect.
No, we're not.
We all have slip-ups every now and then.
Slip-ups, flaws.
There's Hobart coming in motion. And Williams right there just kind of tugging on
there
15.
It is. Yeah,
as,
you see it there late.
Actually, it wasn't Griesel. It was Jamison Niehaus, the linebacker. So the penalty, making a 1st and 18. Hansen keeps it himself as he runs out towards right tackle. And speaking of Niehaus right there, he makes a tackle in the backfield. It's going to be a loss of 1, setting up 2nd down and 19. Ball on the far side hash, 11:20 and counting here in the 4th quarter. Riverhawks with the football, but they lead by 3. But the Bobcat defense really turning it up a notch here in the second half. And this play exemplifying it right there. Good pursuit.
And Niehaus stays to the outside there, does a great job. The sophomore got burned going inside a couple times in the first half, but the skill and the ability to learn on the fly in full display right there. Great play by the sophomore.
Break the huddle, 2 wide receivers set. Witt is on the edge. Hansen, the quarterback, in the pistol, and a false start is going to back up. So not only 2nd and 19, but this is going to back him up 5 more yards, and it's going to be second and forever for Mason City. And this is where the big boys down there on that defensive line got to turn it up a notch and get that pressure on the quarterback and Hanson.
And this is where, if you're the Riverhawks, if you're looking at the glass half full, you're so close to the goal line that you don't have to mark off the full yardage as it really only moves a couple yards there. On
half the distance to the goal, so it's going to be second and 24. Hanson underneath center. He was looking for somebody to hand it off to. Nobody's there. Safety! Dropped in the end zone. It's Niehaus. Huge play for the Bobcats. It's 26-25. 2 points.
Those sophomores have come to play. We saw a lot of success at that freshman level last year where they put some points on teams. And there's Niehaus.
He didn't hesitate either.
No.
And he was looking to rip that ball out. It looked like he put a hand on that ball with Hanson and ripped him down. And Niehaus was battling with Hayes for the starting quarterback spot. But due to injury with Xavier Anderson here tonight, he's come in and he has looked like a solid backup linebacker with a safety for the Bobcats to get 2 points back on the board. They now trail by 1. They'll get the ball back momentarily.
My goodness, you see the sophomore right there, Niehaus, huge safety, second safety. You think of the work that Tyler England just did on the previous drive. See Sinclair out there, defensive tackle. You have sophomores up and down this lineup and all contributing. This is, if you're a Bobcat fan here tonight, looking at, there are some great seniors on this team, but this is loaded with sophomores and juniors. A lot to build on moving forward.
That's a negative 17-yard drive by Mason City. They started at the 17 and a safety, and the Bobcats get back within 1 point here tonight with an opportunity to take the lead with the football after the safety. So this just, what a second half.
Yeah.
This has been a tale of 2 halves here tonight, really.
Well, and as a football coach, as a team, you want to be able to impose your will. And it feels like even though the Bobcats were down 12 or 9 at the half, they didn't get wigged out. They didn't change who they were, and they have been able to set the tone. Tremendous defense on that drive.
Wigged out. You're dating yourself by using
it's
term.
one I like.
Kickoff is away, all brought to you by Century 21 in Marshalltown. Fielded at the 40. And the Bobcats have it, reversing field, coming into the near side. Jordan Haynes with the return for the Marshalltown Bobcats. Flag down on the field. We might have holding on the return, but Haynes with a nice job. And a former Haynes, right? A brother?
Yeah, Malik Haynes is his brother. Malik was one of my favorites. He ran the ball some. But I love.
He's a great defensive.
He was a really good defensive player. So I loved watching Malik. He was on the teams when I first started to do it. It's nice to see another Haynes. This is year number 5
for us.
Yeah, number 5, 3.
No, 4. This is year 4.
It's 5. It was August of 2020. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This is our 5th year. It's our 3rd on TV. It's our 5th together. It feels like 25 some days.
How time flies, Dylan.
It does.
All right, so the penalty on the Bobcats, the holding on the kick return, still gives them very good yardage at the 44-yard line is where they will set up shop. That's been the thing tonight I've been impressed by. Bobcats have had really good starting position every time tonight on offense.
Except for the last drive started at the 1, but that was a positive.
Yeah, it was, for sure. Handoff, Ragland up the middle, and he'll get over the 45. Stopped at the 47-yard line. So decent gain, about 3 yards there for Ragland on first down. And this is a team that last year, I don't know if we had too many games outside of the Tate Ring blowing up Lincoln, where we had 234 rushing yards in a single game.
Yeah, that has not happened a whole lot while having 10 yards in the air on 1 of 2 passing.
Hayes underneath center, hands off to Ragland again as Ragland will try to push him way up to the 50. He's at the 49. I don't think a ton what we did because we only played one half and then the shotguns, the bullets rang.
Sometimes you hear about a shotgun start. Sometimes you get a shotgun finish.
Never heard of one of those until last year.
This is one where with Davis Ragland, the difference is Davis Ragland will get you 3 yards every single time. If you need 3 yards, there's not anybody I would rather have. But it does become a little bit, if you're just going straight right up the gut, is Bobcats have got to be able to get a little bit more than just 3 yards of carry here.
Griesel comes in motion. Ragland dives over to the 49-yard line, only a gain of 2, so it's going to be 4th down and 3.
And this is where I love Davis as the back. Tyler England has brought so much wiggle to this that I understand he's just a sophomore.
Bobcats very sure about themselves. They'll go for it. 4th down and 3. Ball on the near side hash mark. Griesel comes in motion. Hard count from the quarterback in Hayes. And there might be a timeout coming.
Why waste a timeout, though? That's what I don't understand.
And a false start. Hinkle slaps himself. He knew it. And that's going to be a 5-yard penalty. That they wanted to run a play right there.
Yeah. That's what that tells you. It's like they were going.
Yep. And here comes special teams unit. So 4th and 3, they were going to go for it, but a false start on the Bobcat offensive line. And with 7:55 to go in this football game, a little bit of a pivotal play right there in just a 1-point game. And everybody knew it.
Yeah.
You definitely don't have to pile on a guy when he has worked so hard here tonight and then beats himself up after the play right there in Hinkle. But
yeah, this is where you have a quarterback as a punter. Do you try something? Nope. And a bad punt.
I think that one actually might have been tipped that time as it angles towards the Mason City sideline. Up near the 32-yard line is where it will be spotted down. We do have a Riverhawk down back on the other end of the football field, possibly a cramp here tonight, as it's been pretty much exclusive to Mason City with the cramping here tonight. Not the hottest night. It's 67 degrees.
And it's not muggy, and that's Gabe Reese again. He went out late. Just the last series he had some problems. But it's back at the Bobcats. Defense has got to do something. Can they bow up again? Can they get the ball back?
Coming up after the game tonight, we'll name our OPA player of the game. We'll also chat with head coach Adam Goodvin. And we'll get our Lily Mae Sweet play of the game. We've had a few that may be in the running here tonight for the Marshalltown Bobcats. As Mason City still getting a guy stretched out. Let's get a scoreboard update tonight, all brought to you by Central State Bank. Locations in Ames State Center and in West Des Moines. Dylan?
We have a victory for the Des Moines East Scarlet as they beat the Polar Bears of Des Moines North 20-16. Dowling Catholic beat Cedar Rapids Kennedy 24-12. The Jaguars of Ankeny Centennial beat Ankeny 31-10. Johnston.
Wow.
Yeah. The big three-touchdown win there. Johnston beat Waukee Northwest 28-17, and Indianola beat Urbandale 21-17.
All right, so
slow trot off the field here for Gabe Reese. We've seen him. That's not the first time he's been off the field slowly, and just looks like a cramp.
Always remember Gabe Reese came off the bench down in Mason City, had a quick, 5 points, knocked down a 3, knocked down a bucket. Didn't do much after that, but I was like, he looks more like a defensive tackle than a sharpshooter.
Hansen out of the shotgun as this possession starts at the 32-yard line. They'll go to the air. Hobart on a slant route. No, that was Witt. And the throw is behind him. Incomplete. 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Riverhawks. So a punt for the Bobcats on their last drive. Mason City, though, leading by 1 after a safety on their last possession.
Mason City's done a nice job in the play calling where they are coming back to different actions that they've done to pass off of it. This time they did a jet sweep action to Hobart, faked it there, and tried to get Witt up the seam, but the ball was behind and way too low.
7:29 remaining in the fourth quarter. High snap. Hansen brings it down. Pump fakes. He'll try to scramble to the far side of the field, and he'll get back just to the line of scrimmage when he's brought down, as the Bobcats doing a nice job in pursuit as Zach Wilder comes up with a nice tackle right there.
Really nice job. Bobcats have stayed home better. Last year, there were multiple opportunities. They gave up big plays on the back end where they weren't able to contain the quarterback. Tonight, they've done a much better job with that. It also seems that the Bobcats have been able to rotate in more guys defensively, where last year you were playing about 20 guys in total.
Hobart and Witt out to the near side. Hansen's going to scramble to the near side as they're going to launch one deep for Witt, and that's out of bounds, incomplete, 4th and 10. Kyle Smith on the coverage, but it didn't matter because Hansen just launched that one way over the head of Witt. And the punt crew special teams will come out for Mason City in a 1-point game as the Bobcats trailing 26-25, 6:37 to go in the game. Kyle Smith back to return. Now this is the upcoming drive you're really going to pay attention to see how the rest of this game pans out.
The way, just the pace in which the Bobcats play, this is their drive. This is their full drive where you feel like you can run clock. You don't have to be rushed to do anything. But much time underneath that is where the Bobcats go a little bit outside of what they want to accomplish.
Corey Smith was a big play guy last year, wide receiver. His brother Kyle Smith back to return the punt. And the punt will be back at the 35-yard line. He'll back away. This is going to take a Riverhawk bounce. That's one you might want a fair catch next time, but hindsight's 20/20. It's down to the 24-yard line, and the Bobcats will have a pretty full-length drive ahead of them to try to take the lead back here tonight, as the Bobcats led earlier here tonight all the way back at the 2:56 mark, or actually 7:04 in the second quarter was the last lead the Bobcats had. They led 17-12 at that point, but Mason City has led since then. So it's been about 2 quarters that Mason City has held on to the lead, but this is the final that matters right here.
It really does, but we look at the Bobcats have a couple things going. They've been able to run the ball whenever they want. And you see there Tyler England's in, and he's the one that brings the juice. Plus you have Luis Monge, who's already made a 47-yard field goal.
England in the back, as Dylan alluded to. 2 wide receivers to the far side. England with a nice cut and bowls over a couple of Riverhawks, including Jameer Falls, for a decent gain on first down for about 4 yards. 2nd and 6 coming up. Ball resting in the middle of the field. Again, it's 26-25 is the score in the fourth quarter here at Leonard Cole Field in Marshalltown.
Yeah, Jameer Falls, I think, also a basketball player, but he has a couple sisters that have been quite good for the Riverhawks for many years on that basketball team.
Lincoln Birding in a close-up shot there on KFJB-TV. He's been injured tonight, but back in there. The Bobcats will go right up the gut again to England, and he's over the 30 up to the 32-yard line. So another solid gain, and he's going to make it a short 3rd down and 2. So England doing what Ragland's doing here tonight, giving the Bobcats a shot at a short 3rd down, because this is the kind of offense. This is not a 3rd and 8 offense.
No.
This is a 3rd and 2 offense.
And they've had so much success with the 6'2", 200-pound Jacob Hayes going right up the gut.
And Hayes will keep it himself right here and dives over the 35 to nearly the 35 and a half. And that'll move the chains for a first down as we approach the 5-minute mark.
Jonathan Schaefer just drove, I believe it was Carter Klemsrud, right into the 41-yard line. You could have put flowers around him. That's how far he drove him into the ground.
And we have a timeout on the field. We'll take a timeout with them. This is Bobcat football. You're watching KFJB-TV.
Life can take unexpected turns. Maybe you started college, but life got in the way. At Marshalltown Community College, we understand. It's never too late to chase your dreams. Come back to where your journey began. Rediscover your passion for learning and let us help you achieve your goals. Schedule a visit today at MarshalltownCommunityCollege.com.
Marshalltown Community College, a step in the right direction.
Out of the quick timeout, Sam Griesel gets the pitch, comes to the 40 outside the number, spinning off a tackle to the 41-yard line. And a really solid gain on first down of 6 yards by Sam Griesel. Not too many carries, but he's been very effective when he has touched the ball tonight.
He's been the most effective when they go to that pitch option with the slot coming back the other way on the misdirection. 2 carries, he's up to 32 yards, and with 1 big touchdown in that.
He's letting the clock work down here before the snap comes as we are under 4.5 minutes to go. Bobcats down by 1. Pitch to Smitherman, and the Riverhawks have been over anything that's going to Smitherman tonight. He has not had any room to run. They've read him well.
That could have been Barry Sanders, and that was the same result. They were all over him.
So that backs him up by a yard. It's going to be 3rd down and 5 as we are now 4 minutes to go in this one. 26-25. Riverhawks with a 1-point lead.
We're in 4-down territory with the way that they're running with pace and play here. I don't anticipate Bobcats looking to punt here, so this is 2 plays to get a first down.
Hayes keeps it. Late pitch. It's in the backfield. Smitherman has to cover it up. And that play just did not go the Bobcats' way. And here comes the special teams unit. No hesitation by head coach Adam Goodvin as Smitherman, had a shot. That was way behind Hayes. The pitch was completely off the mark as we see the replay here.
That was a really bad decision.
Yeah.
If he could have got it on the numbers, there was something there, but it was a really bad pitch. But we've got to hurry up at some level.
Just 3 minutes to go in this one now as the clock keeps counting. Smitherman, a nice job, though, to get back there and get that ball covered up. And the ball right to Witt on the return. He's up at midfield, breaks the tackle, and finally pushed out of bounds to the 45-yard line. So solid field position for Mason City for the final 2:52 to go in this one here tonight at Leonard Cole Field as Riverhawks lead 26-25. Dylan, this is another, you're asking your defense to go back out there and make another big play for you.
Yeah, this is Bobcats have been up to the task here in the second half, not giving up anything. But clock ticks under 3. You have your full 3 timeouts, but this is basically you get 1 timeout. You're not getting the ball back with hardly any time.
Yeah.
You give up 2 first down. This game's a wrap.
Hansen in the shotgun. He'll hand off to Birding, and he is hit in the backfield for a loss. And big defensive lineman Ignacio Macias there to make the 1-yard loss tackle. And a timeout going to be called for the Bobcats in a 26-25 game. You are watching and listening to Bobcat Athletics on KFJB-TV.
McGregor's Furniture and Mattress is your local furniture store in Marshalltown, and they are proud to support Marshalltown Bobcat Athletics. If you want to kick off football season in a new recliner, pass the bread at a beautiful new dining set, or lay up on a luxurious sectional sofa, McGregor's is the right play. Score the mattress of your dreams with an assist from their friendly and knowledgeable staff. You'll be the household MVP when you bring home the winning selections at McGregor's Furniture and Mattress, downtown Marshalltown, open 7 days a week.
Well, a great turnout here tonight for the Marshalltown Bobcat faithful as they've enjoyed a good game here tonight between Mason City and Marshalltown. 26-25 the score is the Bobcats trailing by 1. Mason City did get back to the line of scrimmage there, but Ignacio Macias with a good tackle. Timeout taken there by the Bobcats, so it's 2nd down and 10. They'll hand off to Birding again. Goes off right tackle as he will motor past a couple of Bobcats for a 9-yard gain. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Nobody able to make the stop there, and this is going to be a huge play because it's basically the game right now. as if they give up a first down, they do not have any more, just one more timeout after this. Yeah.
They should get the ball back by then, but Bobcats are not big play. It's not going to be a big play. So this is, if they are able to get a stop here now, if I'm the Riverhawks, I'm going twice at it. If I turn the ball over on downs, I turn the ball over on downs. See Hancock right there has had a pretty good game.
So what are you drawing up? The sweep? A handoff? What?
This is, I'm going straight forward. I'm doing a quarterback sneak. I don't like going east and west when I only have to get a foot. You could see just a direct turnaround handed off to Birding. Birding's 6'2". As a running back, that's pretty long.
Hanson, the quarterback, will be in the shotgun. He has, to the far side of the field,
They're going to go under center there.
Wide receiver in Hobart. And, yeah, they're going to do kind of line up with a tush-push. Hanson barking out the signal, trying to draw the Bobcats offside, and they will not. And a timeout going to be called by Mason City, as the Bobcats looked like they were matched up pretty well right there, Dylan.
Yeah, they looked and see if they could get him to jump. But you get into some interesting conversations right here. Is okay if they stop him. They stop him here on 4th down. You would rather them score a touchdown, I think, than get a first down. Because this
100%.
Game is still.
Because they're not going to make the extra point.
Right. If they go for 2 to try to, do they try to go up by 9? They could try that, but a first down in that scenario is worse for us than giving up a touchdown.
Correct. But you almost hate to tell your guys that. I've always thought that. Like, that's a tough thing. Like, hey, allow a touchdown here.
Well, and that's a whole thing because you're still trying to stop them from first down, but it's just that kind of that in-between.
Yeah.
I either want to get them no yards or all of the yards.
Yeah. All right, big play, 31. Hanson underneath center. He'll push forward, but he's driven back, it looks like, and then he bounces off a tackle. He'll slide ahead, first down. It looked like the Bobcats were going to have him stop, but he bounced outside and picks up the first down. A little bit of a backbreaker right there for the Bobcats, and it looks like head coach Adam Goodvin going to take the timeout. We'll take a timeout with him. This is Bobcat football. You're watching KFJB-TV. Well, J.J. Schoenfelder just came up with this big play right here as we are away at timeout as he shot in and tackled Lincoln Birding in the background. So backfield, and so it's going to be a long second down and 14 to go here. The clock will tick, and if the Bobcats can get out of this, they might have about 20 seconds or so to work with.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the quick mental math. I think it'll be around 35 seconds, I think.
Hobart comes in motion. Birding gets the handoff, and he's back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe a loss of 1. So third down and going to be 15 yards to go here.
And we don't.
And you know they're not going to go to the air.
No, and we know that there is not. There's no working play clock on the field.
Yes, that's been a little bit of a bugaboo that not been working for the scoreboard and some of the aspects here as improvements made, but
yeah, because it's going to be it's going to be closer what you said, and And
it's going to be slim pickings for time after this. Hansen will be in the shotgun. 3rd down and 15. Fakes a handoff to Birding. He'll sprint near side. Wilder has him. Ankle tackled, now driven back, and a good tackle. It's close to the sideline. Pramana made the tackle, but coaching staff wanted him to be out of bounds. But, yeah, it'll be about 10, 15 seconds now.
I think it'll be about
for the
4
Bobcats.
or 5 seconds. It's
because the punt will come.
If they punt, I would, if I'm the Riverhawks, this is where I have no clue how much time they have.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know if the back judge is giving indications to somebody out there. Somebody's got to kind of let it know. They're watching the watch. And that will do it. Well, apparently more time on the clock than not. I thought there was at least 40 seconds.
There's 45 seconds when they tackled.
Unless they allowed for the time to spot in there, but.
Yeah, and they've been slow spotting the ball the whole night. That's ridiculous.
Well, that'll leave a sour taste in the mouth of Bobcat faithful, including the players themselves. A tough one here tonight. A heck of a job by the defense. A shutout in the second half. Bobcats did not allow a point, including a safety and a touchdown. 8 points in the second half. A missed PAT is the difference by the Bobcats. And they'll lose week 1 and cannot break the streak. 2019, the last time they won in week number 1, as both teams meet at midfield. Dylan, your initial thought on the loss here tonight in week 1?
It was a lack of execution. It was a lack of, in the kickoffs, those 2 kickoff pieces, and then the decisions right before the first half. Those were the things. Bobcats have been up 17-14. They gave up 12 points pretty quickly. That did it. But then you turn around, Tyler England's going to be a stud. He's just going to be good. The running the ball really looked good tonight. So the offense gives them some identity, but you have to execute in the small ways, and the Bobcats did not do that.
Tough loss for the Bobcats. A 1-point loss, 26-25. A lot of positives, but this one will definitely sting for the Bobcats as they lose to the Mason City Riverhawks tonight. Coming up, it is the Locker Room Report, all presented by Wells Fargo Advisors. We'll talk to Coach Goodvin, get our players of the game, the Lily May sweet play of the game, and recap this one with highlights. This is Bobcat football. You're watching KFJB-TV.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social. And that's just on the inside. Step outside and enjoy patio life at Gutter Point with drinks, shuffleboard, live music, and fun atmosphere. Follow Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to plan your next visit to the place for fun.
At Sports Plus Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy Center, we customize each patient's treatment plan to their individual needs. What does that mean? It means that not every back or knee problem is treated the same, and that your program will be unique and designed especially for your needs or problem. This improves how quickly you will return to work or sports. The Sports Plus staff is encouraging and takes pride in your successful recovery. This is just one more reason why champions choose Sports Plus Physical Therapy as their favorite place to rehabilitate and train.
The KFJB-TV Locker Room Report, presented by Wells Fargo Advisors of Marshalltown.
Well, Bobcat fans heading home disappointed tonight, 26-25 the final score. Bobcats pitch a shutout in the second half, but come up short. Luis Monghay with the extra point, which was missed. You hate to pin it on a guy or anything like that, but that one PAT looking back is the difference in this one here tonight. Could have been a 26-26 game. It's it's always a coulda, shoulda, woulda, kind of situation. But you have to love the physicality and the effort that all guys, 11 on each side of the ball, were putting out there.
And this is what I'll say. Last year's team was at no point physical.
No.
This team was physical from the word go. So I think that's what you hang your hat on is the physicality. And it really stinks that Luis missed the extra point because he was so good for them tonight, making that 47-yard field goal. He put themselves in great position. And then you look at those pieces for the Bobcats, it comes down to those little things. 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns.
Yeah.
But the Bobcats, they played exceptionally well in that second half. I think Jamison Niehaus is a perfect example of taking poor angles in that first half to there in the second half, making big tackles on the edge, including the safety sack. I feel like that may be the Bobcats when we come back to Leonard Cole next Friday, that you're going to see another big step forward, because I know we saw a big step forward than what we saw at that scrimmage last Friday.
A huge step forward from what we saw last Friday, that is for sure, and the physicality just oozing out there tonight, and that offensive line just did a heck of a job, and there was just big holes here and there. I mean, again, we found out this is not a team that's going to go and light it up for, these huge bombs, and the passing game's not going to be what maybe it has been in the past, but this is going to be a very effective rushing team. But it's also a team, like you found out here tonight, they were down 26-17 at the break. Yeah, they had a tremendous second half, but it still wasn't quite enough to get them over the hump to get the victory. So that's one thing they'll have to learn, is that it's got to be all 4 quarters. You can't have those lapses where you allow 2 95-yard touchdown returns on a kickoff.
No, not at all. And it seems like we have more of these conversations than we would like. And I know Coach Goodvin would like is, the result wasn't what you wanted, but here's what we did well.
Yeah.
Now you want to say, hey, the result's what we wanted. How can we get better?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how you flip those conversations. If you get a win, you talk about what didn't go right. If you get the loss, you're like, let's find a positive. I think it's just time for the Bobcats to be able to put it all together and to start delivering W's.
All right, so the second half got off to a really good start. Bobcats put together a 6-minute drive to start off the second half after receiving the kickoff, as Sam Griesel got his first varsity touchdown on this play right here. As we take a look at it, and just a nice pitch out by Jacob Hayes. Some good blocking right there. Talon Halstead as well as Smitherman down to finish it off. Griesel did pick up a penalty on that play celebration, but well worth it. And it was 26-23 after the PAT was missed. And that was, you don't ever see anything coming in football, right? You never. But the next scoring play by the Bobcats came later in the game after Mason City got the ball after a punt. They started the 17-yard line, and it was this play by Jamison Niehaus, a 2-point play, got the Bobcats back within 26-25, but that missed PAT, the difference here in the second half as the Bobcats fall by 1 point to the Mason City Riverhawks. So Riverhawks 1-0, Bobcats 0-1. We will get our Lily Mae Sweet play of the game as well as our Bobcat player of the game. That is coming up as the Locker Room Report continues from Leonard Cole Field on KFJB-TV.
You planned and saved for your child to go to college, but medical school after graduation was a surprise. A happy, expensive surprise. Wells Fargo Advisors can help. For more than 125 years, we've created wealth management and investment strategies aimed at achieving our clients' personal financial goals. When opportunities surprise you, turn to Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far.
Wells Fargo Advisors is located at 14 East South Ridge Road in Marshalltown. Call them at 641-752-5401. They're a member SIPC.
The KFJB-TV Locker Room Report, presented by Wells Fargo Advisors of Marshalltown.
Welcome back to Leonard Cole Field as the Bobcats fall by 1 here tonight, as 26-25 the final score. As let's get our player of the game here tonight, which is all brought to you by Opa Grill in Marshalltown. As Opa Grill in Marshalltown, Greek and traditional favorites. All you have to say, Dylan.
Opa.
Yeah, that is for sure. And our player of the game here tonight is a senior, well-deserving Davis Ragland. He had 16 carries for 60 yards, a touchdown rush, and one of the most pivotal plays in the second half, a goal line stand. He tackled the quarterback in Dane Hansen, stuffed him at the one, turned him back, and the Bobcats didn't do anything after that drive, but it really helped establish that defensive momentum in the second half. As here it is right here, Hansen scrambling, and then Ragland finishes it off right there at the end of the pile as Davis Ragland, senior, our player of the game here tonight, brought to you by Opa Grill in Marshalltown.
Davis always brings the toughness, and he doesn't give up, but yet great job of turning it away at the goal line. Really liked what the senior brought to the table, and very deserving of his gift card to Opa.
Yeah, $25 gift certificate to our player of the game, as that is good for Opa Grill in Marshalltown. Each week they will be awarding our player of the game. We will take a timeout, and when we come back, we'll get our Lily Mae Sweet Play of the Game. This is the Locker Room Report right here on your home for the Cats, KFJB-TV.
What does OPA mean? OPA means joy, enthusiasm, and approval. And when you dine at Opa Grill in Marshalltown, you'll understand why. With their made-to-order pastas, soups, and salads made daily with the freshest ingredients. Favorites include chicken parmesan pan-fried to perfection, fresh and light chicken lemon rice soup, and their signature Opa salad topped with seasoned gyro meat. Opa Grill Family Restaurant in Marshalltown, where you can dine in or drive through. All you have to say is, Opa!
You look forward to retirement as your time to relax. But now that it's here, turns out relaxation is overrated and you'd rather get back to work with an idea of your own. Wells Fargo Advisors can help. For more than 125 years, we've created wealth management and investment strategies aimed at achieving our clients' personal financial goals. When retirement plans change course, turn to Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far.
Wells Fargo Advisors is located at 14 East South Ridge Road in Marshalltown. Call them at 641-752-5401. They're a member SIPC.
The KFJB-TV Locker Room Report, presented by Wells Fargo Advisors of Marshalltown.
Back in on the Locker Room Report here on KFJB-TV. Dylan Doze alongside me. I'm Brandon Lewis. Time for our Lily Mae Sweet Play of the Game. Lily Mae Chocolates, handmade, hand-dipped since 1939. Always open at lilymaechocolate.com. Well, our Sweet Play of the Game got the Bobcats back within 1 point here tonight, as just a huge play by the linebacker coming up and making the play, Dylan.
Yeah, he just comes in and crunches him and gets him for two. Great job by the sophomore. And if you're down at Lily Mae, they have a new popcorn called the Bobcat Crunch. And it's delicious.
Well, Jamison Niehaus crunched Hansen right here on the play in the end zone for that safety, as that is our sweet play of the game. And really another point. It's really fun to see some of these young kids making a huge impact.
It really is. You're looking at the sophomore we talked a lot about Tyler England, talked a lot about Jamison Niehaus, but I'm thinking even on the line piece, when you're looking at Jonathan Schaefer, and then I know Sinclair came in and was a rotational defensive tackle as well. A lot of sophomores played well, a lot of juniors played well. Just in the end, it wasn't enough.
We will take a final timeout, one more timeout, and we will talk with head coach Adam Goodvin when we come back. This is Bobcat Football. You're watching KFJB-TV.
Miller Middle School turns 100 next year. It has served generations of Marshalltown students well. Education has changed dramatically since Miller opened in 1925. Miller faces a long list of challenges, including limited technology capabilities, lack of space for learning, gathering, and new programming to prepare our students for the next step in their journey. Voters will consider a referendum in November to reimagine Miller for future generations. To learn more, go to marshalltowncsdfuture.com.
How can you help Marshalltown High School and enjoy a mouth-watering burger at the same time? By ordering the Bobcat Burger at Legend's American Grill. 2 quarter-pound patties with crisp bacon strips, sauteed onions, and melted American cheddar, jack, and Swiss cheeses on top of fresh shredded lettuce on a toasted bun. It's absolutely delicious. $1 from every Bobcat Burger sold is donated by Legends to Marshalltown High School activities. So, enjoy a Bobcat Burger and help MHS. The Bobcat Burger, another exclusive from Legends American Grill in Marshalltown.
The KFJB-TV Locker Room Report, presented by Wells Fargo Advisors of Marshalltown.
Locker Room Report, our postgame chat with Coach, all brought to you by Edward Jones, Zach Wall, your financial advisor in Marshalltown. Welcome back into the booth. Brandon Lewis still in Dose, now joined by head coach Adam Goodvin. Coach, 26-25 is the final score here tonight. You pitched a shutout with your defense in the second half. It was 26-17 at the halftime break. A missed PAT, just the difference in this one. What was your message, though, to your team? Because they showed so much grit and physicality. Some physicality we maybe haven't seen for a little bit of a while. I mean, this was a punch Mason City in the mouth kind of team out here tonight.
I think it was really hard to find the right words to say to the guys after that. You know, it's like you said, our kids were extremely physical. They played hard, did a lot of great things, but we know at the same time there's a lot of things that need cleaned up as well. It was a very physical football game, and it didn't matter who we put in there. They were going to go out there and they were going to play physical. They were going to play tough and hard, and it stings. This is something that we put in, that's on our minds 365 days of the year. And then, we finally get back to football season week 1, and to lose a nail biter like that, it's tough. But I'm sure tomorrow night, Sunday morning, I'm going to finally realize that I can't get a time machine and go back and change things. So, we're going to keep our head up and get back to work on Monday like we always do.
What do you think the difference was in the second half compared to the first half? Because, I mean, obviously Hobart was running around with those kickoff returns. That was a big difference. But it just seemed like your team in the second half, that physicality, Ragland was our player of the game. He turned back the quarterback, Hansen, at the 1-yard line. You got the safety. I mean, it's just guys making play out there in the second half. Do you just think it was just a little more comfortability out there in the second half?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a combination of a few things. We really challenged them to find that energy, get it back, all right, and just hold on to it. And I think a lot of credit goes to the older guys like Davis and for bringing those guys with them. And like you said, we didn't allow them to score in the second half, and just came up real short. There was a couple kickoff returns and then a double pass, and the details matter. Details matter.
Yeah.
And walk us through that pass right before. It looked like you were playing to go into the half, getting the ball about the 40, and then, just the worst thing that could happen is getting your eyes caught in the backfield. So how do you coach that up? 3 monster plays, and that's really the game, because if you take away those, you kind of imposed your will. We haven't done that in a couple years. So what do you say on those 3 things? What is going through your mind, and what are you trying to communicate to your team?
The biggest thing, there's not much, because our kids know that. It's a reminder to trust what we've been teaching them. Trust their keys, trust what they know, and trust what they've been repping every single day at practice, and things will get better.
Holy smokes, by the way, on that point, you established a new offense. I don't think you hardly had to admit you had one false start that I can really remember really here tonight, and you were trying to hard count them. And other than that, I mean, really well executed, pretty clean from that aspect. I mean, were you really happy with the way your team executed, especially rehauling things on the offensive side?
Yeah, I told you guys, they really bought in from the moment we introduced it to them, and we saw a lot of good things. It's tough week 1 when you're running a new scheme, and you're going up against a defense that you're not quite sure what they're going to do going in, and but overall, very proud of our kids and their effort and toughness and all of that.
One thing I want to, again, we've talked about grittiness, we've talked about that. The line play I thought was pretty spectacular, both sides. And some of that is you have a couple sophomore Schaefer starts on both sides. Sinclair came in. And then also the sophomores, Jamison Niehaus, big play, Tyler Englund in the backfield. What can you say about the line play and then also the youth from the sophomore impact on your team?
Well, our line, we try to make it as easy as possible for them because they're strong kids and they can move. And, they only have, 5 or 6 at most different assignments. Our tackles got a little more, but we want them to know what they're doing, play fast, and trust their pass. They got a track that they need to stay on, and for the most part tonight they did a pretty good job. I mean, both teams were pretty winded here week one, and we were able to sub in some of those younger guys, and they're football players, man. JJ and Niehaus and England and Nate. I mean, all those guys. We're not going to dress you on Friday nights if we don't trust you.
Yeah. Last question for you, Coach. You've got Cedar Rapids, Jefferson coming up next Friday night. You get them back here at Leonard Cole Field. I know it's hard to think about, preparing for your next team, but, we often see teams week 1 to week 2 take that step forward a lot in, cleaning up those little things like you say. So what do you kind of expect out of your team in practice this week?
That's exactly it, and that's exactly what we had told them, and we kind of want to speak that into existence. And I think the biggest thing that our kids need to do over the weekend is to get healthy and rest up. And, we'll get to the scout report on Monday and, get back at it, and hopefully we can have that huge improvement next Friday.
Yeah, we didn't see Xavier Anderson in the second half. How is he doing?
I haven't heard an update yet. He had a high ankle issue. I guess I don't know exactly.
Well, we
on
definitely
the kickoff return, you could tell he got hit pretty good on that ankle.
Well, we wish him hopefully a speedy recovery and everything checks out all right. Coach, thanks for the time tonight.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, that is our locker room report here on KFJB-TV, and our postgame chat all brought to you by Edward Jones in Marshalltown.
Don't let concerns about shifts in the market disrupt your long-term financial goals. Edward Jones financial advisor Zach Wall can help. He'll work with you on an investment strategy for long-term results. Edward Jones can give you the tools and knowledge for a steady approach to hitting your financial targets. Get started by giving Zach Wall a call at 641-752-3017 in Marshalltown or visiting edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
.62, Coach. 62. First down. We're doing this so that the kids can continue to play. Like we used to enjoy playing when I was in high school. I understand how fun it was, and I want that same fun to be had by the kids now. So that's why we need more officials to keep these games going on.
The KFJB-TV Locker Room Report, presented by Wells Fargo Advisors of Marshalltown.
Back at Leonard Cole Field one final time. Time to get a scoreboard update, all brought to you by Central State Bank. Dylan, finals.
West Marshall could not topple the Nevada Bears.
Cubs.
They're not full grown. Maybe they're full grown now. 33-7. I knew when I said it didn't sound right. Nevada 33, West Marshall 7. Ottumwa is still beating Kilcuck 34-26. Des Moines East beats Des Moines North 20-16. Dowling Catholic doubles up Cedar Rapids Kennedy 24-12. Ankeny Centennial better than Ankeny by 21, 31-10. Johnston beat Waukee Northwest 28-17. Indianola over Urbandale 21-17. Waukee obliterates
Ames going down in flames
by 45, 59-14. And
what was that score again?
59-14.
I don't think I heard you.
59, 5-9, almost 60 to 14.
They got a different coach over there here.
That's what I hear, and new turf.
And new turf, mostly. I'm more interested in the new turf than anything.
New turf, new them.
But a loss here tonight. All right, that is our scoreboard update, all brought to you by Central State Bank. Coming up, and on Tuesday night, we'll have volleyball coverage here on KFJB-TV as the Bobcats travel to take on the Huskies. What's a young husky called?
A huskette.
I think that's a female husky.
A Lil Husky.
Lil.
L-I-L.
L-I-L. Lil Wade. Marshalltown. Oh, Pup. You're probably right. I think Zach's.
We probably overthought it.
Yeah, we did. Wouldn't be the first time. Marshalltown at Hoover on Tuesday night with volleyball. Bobcat Live coming up on Wednesday night. Hope to see you out there at 6 o'clock. And then football next Friday night. Marshalltown takes on Cedar Rapids. Jefferson back at home here at Leonard Cole Field. Pregame at 6:30. Kickoff at 7:30. For our KFJB-TV crew, back at the radio studios here tonight, Jesse DeMeyer, David Brackett, thanks so much for his work, former Marshalltown Bobcat himself, on stats tonight. Our camera crew doing superb work as always. Keith Stewart, Joe Cornwell, Common Spelling. Zach Tomish is our producer. For Dylan Does, I'm Brandon Lewis. You have been watching Week 1 as the Bobcats fall 26-25 to the Mason City Riverhawks right here on your home for the Cats. News Talk 1230 AM, 93.9 FM, and KFJB-TV.
Bobcat Athletics on KFJB-TV is made possible by Assured Partners, Greg Young of Marshalltown, Lennox Employees Credit Union, Marshalltown Area Chamber, Marshalltown Community College, The Gregors Furniture and Mattress, Sports Plus, Wayward Social, Wells Fargo Advisors of Marshalltown, Marshalltown School District, Scooters of Marshalltown, State Farm, mtownproud.com.